Baton Rouge, Louisiana, one of the legendary sites for college football. And the LSU fans make it special. 13 times in the last 5 years, they've jammed more than 78,000 in here to watch their Tigers play, and it looks like they'll do it again tonight as LSU faces Texas A&M on ESPN. The Aggies are coming off their best season in a decade, the culmination of 4 years under Jackie Sherrill. 1985 brought a 10-2 record, a Southwest Conference championship, and a resounding Cotton Bowl victory over Auburn. The key was Kevin Murray, the sophomore quarterback who led the Aggies to the top in the Southwest. Even though he was still bothered by the effects of a broken ankle suffered in 1984, Murray passed for almost 2,000 yards last season and then threw for 292 in the Cotton Bowl as the conference offensive player of the year. But the Aggies are at their toughest on defense, with arguably the best front seven in the game of college football. They are so good, in fact, that Jackie Sherrill feels 10 of the 11 will end up in the pros. Defense has been the name of the game for Bill Arnsparger his entire career, and he has worked his magic since the day he arrived at LSU. The Tigers return almost everyone from a unit that allowed just 10 points a game in 1985. The big play man is All-American linebacker Michael Brooks. Anywhere on the field you see the ball, you'll find the 235-pound senior. He'll need to be at his best tonight as the Tigers host Texas A&M. It is a sweltering Saturday night in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. 83 degrees, the humidity 52%. Both teams are going to use a lot of players tonight under these conditions. Good evening, everybody. Mike Patrick along with Pat McAnally, and it's great to have you with us for college football on ESPN. Pat, tonight we renew an old rivalry with a couple of teams with exceptional defense.
Well, this should be a great game, Mike. We have two of the best defenses in the country. LSU threw 2 shutouts last year and held 3 other opponents to 7 points or less. They have 10 returning starters and an All-American in Michael Brooks. On the other hand, Texas A&M has their entire front seven back with 3 all-conference linebackers and an All-American of their own, Johnny Holland. There'll be some serious hits out there.
Wouldn't you say that the difference would be A&M's offense tonight?
I think the key to this game will be Kevin Murray. If LSU can stop him, they'll win. However, if he plays like he did at the end of the year last year, he had 290 yards in the Cotton Bowl alone, I think Texas A&M may ride out of here with a shot at a national title.
Could be. Tim Brando will be working the sidelines for us again tonight, but right now, he's the best of all possible places at all those pregame parties.
Mike, you're looking at a subculture of football fans, the likes of which you may never see again along the CFA tour. They're called LSU fans, and the party begins on Thursday. They have tailgate parties, Cajun music, Cajun food, and it's all a part of the spectacle and extravaganza that is LSU football. They have a saying down here, you have to eat the hot boudin and drink the cold couscous. That's what makes LSU football something special. And down here, college football is a religion. Saturday night in Tiger Stadium is considered a holy day of obligation. And this holy day of obligation is underway, and we'll continue our observance here on ESPN.
ESPN's live presentation of CFA football is being brought to you by Michelob. Exceptionally smooth, distinctive taste is why the neck belongs to Michelob. By Allstate, we insure your home, your car, your health, your business, and your life. You're in good hands with Allstate. And by U.S. Armed Services, it's a great place to start.
Larry Burnett and Bino Cook back here in the ESPN studios. We'll be keeping track of college football games going on tonight. The game at Baton Rouge continues. Right now, I want to find out what you think of this game. Texas A&M LSU at Baton Rouge.
Well, first, Death Valley is what they call LSU. But through the years, LSU hasn't won that many big games at home on Saturday night. It's somewhat of a myth. in recent years. Bear Bryant always beat LSU except for a couple times. Tonight, Texas A&M will have problems, and I will predict that LSU will win this game.
Now, some polls actually pick Texas A&M to be number one.
I don't think they can be because of the road schedule. I think that's against them.
All right, as we said, we'll be keeping track of some other games going on tonight, and let's just tell you what they're going to be. Texas Tech, of course, is at number 2, Miami. It's Louisiana Tech taking on number 15, Baylor. That one down in Waco. Number 16, Michigan State going against Arizona State. That could be a good one. Colorado State is at number 20, Arizona. Illinois and USC are already in action. We'll keep you updated on that one. Right now, Illinois is leading it by the score of 3-0 out on the West Coast. It's in the first quarter. And Stanford is taking on the Texas Longhorns. Bunch of good games there. And, well, as we said, we'll have highlights and scores, and we'll be keeping you up to date as those...
Highly recruited and much celebrated high school recruit Harvey Williams that came to LSU ruffled some feathers in Aggie country by making that decision. Year in and year out, Louisiana and Texas harvest top high school football talent. Many of these great athletes migrate to College Station or Baton Rouge. In 1958, Tigers running back Billy Cannon led the Tigers to the national title and a Heisman. But 2 decades later, son Billy said no to the Tigers and went to A&M. New York Jets running back Johnny Hector was another would-be Bayou Bengal that went to College Station. The most recent celebrated high school running back is Harvey Williams from Hempstead High School, just 40 miles outside College Station. He has all the tools, great size, speed, quickness, and power. Everyone expected Williams to join former Hempstead teammate linebacker Johnny Holland at Texas A&M.
The decision that I will make, the university that Harvey Williams will attend for the next 4 years is LSU University.
Obviously, many were shocked and upset at Harvey's decision, according to his high school coach, Robert Kinney.
Oh, sure. It's a disappointment to a lot of people, his teammates, his classmates. But we all know he had to make the decision for Harvey Williams, not to. And if that's what he really wanted to do, the only thing I could say is good luck to Harvey.
It was like everybody was like telling Harvey Williams, ever since Harvey Williams came to Hempstead High, Harvey Williams going to A&M, Harvey Williams going to A&M. He was like programmed to go to A&M. And because Johnny Holland went to A&M, so I just want to be different, I guess. Just go to LSU.
It was like what Bo Jackson did. Everybody suspected him to go football, so he went baseball. I'm the kind of person, I'm an independent person, and I don't like anybody making any decisions for me. So ever since I've been a freshman, I've been programmed to go to Texas A&M. So I thought at that time it was time to make a different change.
Jackie Sherrill has a problem. Not that Harvey went to LSU, but with a system that gives Williams so much attention before playing in college.
The worst thing that we do in the media and as coaches, we try to make, and we do make, personalities out of players. And I'm talking about young players, 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old players, before they ever become, a person.
And I think sometimes things too quickly are possibly expected without realizing what a person goes through or has to go through. But I think that's all a part of the game. I mean, there are high expectations. I mean, you have high expectations of yourself.
Aggies quarterback Kevin Murray was also a highly celebrated high school recruit, but he and his teammates claim Williams is cocky.
I'm not going to knock the guy for what he did. I mean, he made the decision. It was his decision, and he's the one that has to live with it, not me or no one else. I mean, he decided to go to LSU, so, go be it. Good luck. But it's going to be interesting to see how he responds against his hometown boys Saturday, because, he said a lot of few unkind things, in the press, and we're just going to see if he can live up to those billings that he's put in the paper. I have a lot of fans back home, and I have a lot of critics back home, too, that want me to not do so well. So it's half and half, But most people back in Hempstead, they're for me. And the ones that I say don't like me because I didn't go to Texas A&M, it's tough because I made my decision, and that's all it is to it.
Though it doesn't appear to have bothered Harvey that much, I'm joined by his father now, Harvey Williams Sr. Is it unfair, the type of pressure we put on kids like your son during this recruitment?
Yes, it is. One thing to keep in mind, this day and age, the young athletes coming out of high school now have a tremendous amount of peer pressure, that's put on them. And also, I feel that each young athlete, as long as he has the support of his mother and father, some loved ones supporting him in anything he decides to do, I think he can, take the pressure.
Mr. Williams, was this a very difficult time for Harvey personally? And does he always set these lofty goals and make these quotes and expect so much of himself?
Yes, he's been that way ever since I first noticed him when he was 7 years old. He started playing Pop Warner football when he was 7, at the age of 7, and ever since that time, he just decided that football was what he wanted to do, and he just keeps setting goals for himself, and so far he's been reaching them.
Thank you very much for joining us. And Harvey Williams, that story, well, there'll be many more, Larry and Bino. We know there will be many more where A&M and LSU are concerned.
All right, Tim, and you talk about pressure. There's a lot of pressure on an 18-year-old kid to make a decision, but there's also pressure on those coaches to get the talent, and the pressure is probably no hotter anywhere than it is between LSU and Texas A&M.
Yeah, briefly, in the 70s, LSU and Mississippi, it was a regional game on ABC. It went to about 80% of the country, but it did not go to Houston, and Charlie McClendon, then the LSU coach, complained to Roone Arledge, president of ABC Sports. Still, the game did not go into Houston. So Houston is a recruiting area for LSU, not just Texas A&M.
So they wanted that game in Houston so they could get some of those Houston recruits. All right, we're going to be going back to Texas A&M and LSU, that game at Baton Rouge Tiger Stadium. Let's go back there now, live to Tim Brando and the whole crew.
They're ready here in Bayou Country, and tonight's pregame has been brought to you by Mercury, cars that have kept up with the times as much as you have. Mercury, the shape you want to be in. The fans at LSU are ready. The Tigers and Aggies are coming up from Tiger Stadium.
LSU won the toss. They will take their option in the second half, so Texas A&M will receive the opening kickoff from Matt DeFrank, the 205-pound junior, and Rod Harris, who averaged 34.6 yards a kickoff return a year ago, is deep to receive, standing at his own 3-yard line. Valentine and Taylor flank him at about the 8, and we are set to go from Baton Rouge. DeFrank with a high floating kick, and Taylor will come up to take it at the 11. Gets it back to the 25-yard line. DeWitt down on the tackle on special teams. Kevin Murray, the junior quarterback, the Southwestern Conference Offensive Player of the Year. He should break all of A&M's passing records for his career. Behind him in the starting backfield, he has veterans Woodside and Vick. He also has talented receivers. His split end Shea Walker caught 30 passes a year ago. The interior line is huge. Jerry Fontenot may be the best. Marshall Land is the biggest at 340 pounds. Man in motion, and Murray is back to throw on the first play. Flips it out complete to Roger Vick. And Vick is stacked up by the swarming defense of LSU, and Michael Brooks led the charge. The defense for LSU, the front three is tough. Barbe and Wilson are quality ends. The linebackers are led, of course, by Brooks, the All-American, and by Caston. And it's a secondary led by Norman Jefferson. Second down, 13 yards to go after a loss of 3. Murray gives it straight up the middle to Vick, his fullback. Not much there, and once again, the center of that defense led by Toby Caston, number 69, and nose guard Henry Thomas, number 96, in on the stop for LSU. And, Pat, we are going to see a couple of great defenses tonight. Jackie Sherrill has really assembled one at A&M, and, of course, Bill Arnsparger, that's his forte, his defense.
Well, they have a lot of great athletes, a lot of experience. I think in these first 2 plays, we have an indication of what Texas A&M likes to do on offense. They want to throw the short passes to their backs and run up the middle when they have an opening.
Third down, 9 yards to go. They face now Walker and Harris, the wide receivers, and one man in motion. Nobody back to block. Murray guns it complete. He's got the first down. He hit Walker. Walker to the 42-yard line. Rehage and Jackson on the tackle. But Murray connected on the big third down play.
Well, this is 85, Shea Walker. Now, he doesn't have blazing speed, but what he's known for is precise patterns, and he's smart within his zone. He'll find the opening. A nice throw by Kevin Murray's completion.
They had the nickel coverage in that time. Greg Jackson, number 35, comes in when they go to 5 defensive backs, and it didn't help.
And Murray showed us some of that mobility with that healthy ankle. He'll be able to get out of the pockets now.
First and 10 to 42. Woodside 33 and Vic 43 are the running backs. Woodside is the man in motion. They'll give it to Vic on the toss. 45, 46-yard line, upended by Nicky Hazard, the inside linebacker, after a gain of 5. Roger Vick, already number 9 on A&M's all-time rushing list, 1,511 yards, preseason All-American choice by Playboy magazine. And here are the Aggies. Those are the officers of the day out of the Cadet Corps. They are here with the Yell leaders. Made the trip from College Station. Second down, 5 yards to go. Once again, this is Woodside on the toss. Same play, and Woodside's got room to run. 25, 24-yard line. Woodside rips one off for 30. Eric Hill made the saving tackle.
It was a great individual effort by Keith Woodside. He's showing us why he averaged 7.5 yards a carry last year. He breaks out of the line there, and then he cuts across the field. This is where he uses his speed and his blockers. If they'd broken that tackle, he'd have gone the distance. Yeah, he is fast.
Ball deep in LSU territory at the 23. They'll give it to Vic straight up the middle. Vic will only get a couple that time. Number 72, Carl Wilson, the first man to get to him. Second team All-SEC selection a year ago. Vic and Woodside will see a lot of action behind Murray. And this offense can do so much. They've got tremendous balance. Jackie Sherrill told us yesterday he'd like to run the ball about 2/3 of the time, pass it about 1/3. Nice balanced offense. And so far, they have taken the opening kickoff and moved well on LSU. 2nd and 8. The motion man is Harris. Murray to throw. Good time. Throws complete to Woodside out of the backfield to the 10-yard line. He's tripped up by Norman Jefferson, but Texas A&M has a first down inside the LSU 10. Woodside can not only run it as he did the last time, but he is good out of the backfield. The native of Vidalia, Louisiana. Jackie Sherrill on the sideline. What a job he has done to Texas A&M. He has been a winner everywhere he's gone. Vic, what about 3? Brooks laying underneath him, and Nicky Hazard on top.
Well, Mike, I talked to Mike Archer, the defensive coordinator for LSU yesterday, and his biggest concern in this game was not only Kevin Murray's scrambling ability, but Keith Woodside, not only on pitches, but out of the backfield. If they get the ball in his hands out in the open field, LSU's going to have a long night.
Well, LSU's strength is defense, and there's the man who has put it together, Bill Arnsparger. 10:49 to go in the opening quarter. Second down. This is Vic on the toss. Inside the 5, maybe the 4-yard line. Hill got him along with Casper, number 69. Vic out of Tomball, Texas. Gained 764 yards last year. He was the second leading rusher on the ball club. They, of course, lost Anthony Thomas. Vic has carried 5 times so far in this game for 16 yards. Third down, 5 yards to go. Murray has a man on the wing, and he wants to throw for it. Guns it in the end zone, touchdown. A bullet pass to Shea Walker. Kevin Guidry was the closest man to it, but Walker was wide open, and Murray stuck it to his chest. It's a great call and a great throw, Pat.
Well, really, it's unbelievable that the defensive back would play this far off. It's just a short little out. Again, Shea has tight patterns. He runs a nice little out pattern. Easy throw, easy touchdown.
Hey, Guidry beaten by 3 yards.
Out from the 5-yard line. You can't give up that much room.
Slater is on to try the point after, and he's got it. And Texas A&M has shocked LSU with 10:06 to go in the first quarter. It's 7-0 Aggies.
Texas A&M at LSU is being brought to you by today's Chevrolet, who invites you to live the style, performance, and fun of Chevrolet in '86. And by Diet Coke. Enjoy Diet Coke. You're going to drink it just for the taste of it.
Very impressive opening drive as Texas A&M puts the first 7 on the board, and now we'll see something special in college football. The 12th man kickoff team for Texas A&M. These are all walk-ons. 10 of them travel with a place kicker to away games, and in the last 3 years, they have just done an unbelievable job. The longest return in 3 years is 29 yards. Nobody's gotten it back to midfield, and usually they say, Pat, there's got to be one guy on kickoff coverage that's crazy. We've got 10 out there right now.
And they have 30 more at home in Texas.
Right.
They wish they were here.
This was Jackie Sherrill's idea after he went to the Aggie bonfire. He said he never saw spirit like they have at A&M, and he thinks this is the only place that this would work. The kickoff by Slater. Low line drive. Taken by one of the upmen at the 15-yard line. And he'll get it back about 13 yards to the 28. Not one of Slater's best kicks. Ashley Eddington was the man down on special teams to make the tackle. Willie Bryant was the man who picked it up on the hop. There's Hodson coming out, the redshirt freshman quarterback. For the first play of his collegiate career, he has an above-average arm. He's got a quick release. Got some good backs behind him. Martin and Jones, the starting running backs, but we will see several tonight for LSU, especially with the heat. And we'll find out in a hurry whether Tom Hodson can get the LSU offense cranking, because obviously Texas A&M is going to be able to put some points on the board. They'll give it to Martin, trying the right side. Martin with room across the 40. And LSU on its first offensive play gets 11 yards and a first down. Larry Kelm makes the stop. He was the number one tackler on this club a year ago. And the scoring drive was a pretty thing to see for A&M fans. 4 minutes, 50 seconds, 10 plays, and 75 yards. And on the last play, we have a flag down, and it's going to go against LSU. Murray to Walker completed that pretty 75-yard drive. Let's check the call. Now they're saying it is against Texas A&M and not LSU, which was the preliminary signal. Or possibly they're just trying to see whether it was a first down before they mark it off. I'm not sure. First down and then the penalty is what we understand. And they may have to measure before they walk this one off. Now they're going to give them the first down. Now we'll check the penalty.
Complicated life of a referee.
And an announcer. It looks like it must have been a dead ball foul then, because they gave him the first down.
There was a first down on the play after the ball was dead. Slipping by the offense. First down, 25.
Boy, that hurts. Here's the LSU offensive line, or offensive backfield. Behind Hodson, you have Martin and Jones. He's got some good receivers, Davis, McGee, and Kinchin. And the front five is a veteran group led by the very strong Eric Andelson. First and 25. Tough place to put Hodson in, and he wants to come out throwing. Deep sideline is incomplete. Throwing down there for Wendell Davis. Chet Brook was the closest man on coverage for A&M, but it was just overthrown. And that A&M defense, exceptional overall. The front three can dominate. Sadler is a preseason All-American. The linebackers may be the best group in football. Holland, Howard, and Kelm could be all-conference together. The secondary is good and only lacks depth. Keep an eye on Corrington. He is too small to play, but he still plays and does brilliantly. Second and 25, LSU. Hodson has Martin and Victor Jones split behind him. They want to get the ball to Martin as much as possible. Hodson has all day and overthrows Martin. Good coverage out there by the linebacker, Todd Howard, who just went out and followed Martin.
All four of A&M's linebackers can run. They're all 4'6", 4'5" guys. They cover the field. One of the things LSU needs to do is get the ball downfield to their receivers. They're going to have to do a good job with their offensive line, which is experience. It's one of their strengths.
And Harvey Williams is into the ball game for the first time. There is Reveille, the mascot of A&M. Woo! Beautiful collie. And all of the football fans in Hempstead, Texas are watching as Harvey Williams, number 22, checks in for his first play. Took him out of the backfield instead. They throw the other way for Victor Jones, and he is flattened by Corrington, and a flag goes down at the same time. So an inconspicuous debut for Tom Hodson and the LSU offense. And I'm sure Texas A&M will decline that penalty. It will bring up fourth down and a mile if they do turn it down. They'll bring in Matt DeFrank as the punter. Averaged 38 yards on 44 kicks a year ago. And deep to receive, Keith Woodside, number 33. There's DeFrank.
Notice the snapper is number 11, Chris Carrier. He's a defensive back. I don't think I've ever seen that anywhere. And they didn't have one errant snap last year or anything mishandled. I watched him yesterday in practice. He really whips it back there.
Usually it's one of those big linemen with a big hand.
I'll tell you one thing, he'll be able to cover the punt, though. He'll be the fastest center ever down there.
He's also probably going to get stuffed at the line of scrimmage a couple of times. DeFrank to kick it away. There's the perfect chance that Pat told you about, and a beautiful punt by DeFrank. Knocked the air out of it. Woodside. Dodging tacklers, can't make it back past the 22. Excellent kick coverage after a 57-yard punt. We're in the first quarter in Baton Rouge. A&M by a touchdown. Texas A&M has the football at its own 22-yard line, leading 7-0. A big veteran offensive unit. Their only concern was the offensive line, where they lost All-American Doug Williams and another starter. They, of course, lost wide receiver Jeff Nelson, the #1 pass receiver of all time in A&M history. But they've got more weapons, and Murray going downtown on 1st and 10, throwing for Thompson, maybe intercepted. And it was picked up by James Pearson. Thompson, the speed burner, stole it away from him after they were on the ground, but it's an interception for Pearson, and something the LSU defense has to do, and that's turn it over.
Well, it was a play-action pass. They went up top. All this is a straight fly, just going deep. It's excellent coverage by Pearson. He manages to keep his body between the ball and the receiver, which is the right play. And the interesting thing about Pearson is he was academically ineligible, paid his own way to summer school, and now he's playing. A big play right there.
Kid really wanted to play. And if he plays like that, they'll let him as much as he wants. 9:03 to go. The ball at the 30. They'll give it off to Jones, and Jones gets about a yard. Let's go to Larry Burnett for a scoreboard update.
All right, Mike, the #2 team in the country, the Miami Hurricanes, off to a good start in their game at the Orange Bowl with Texas Tech. Vinny Testaverde tossed a touchdown pass, and then this. Testaverde to Alonzo Highsmith. Nobody's going to catch him. 49 yards on the TD pass. Miami now leading 14-0 over Texas Tech. That game at the Orange Bowl. Of course, Miami #2 in the country on the ESPN poll. Let's go back to Baton Rouge.
Mawson Davis, the wide receivers on 2nd and 8. Instead, they throw it short, and they'll complete it to the 35, about the 36-yard line. And Martin Holland is all over him. It'll bring up about a 3rd and 4 situation as Hodson trying to get some game experience under his belt. He had surgery on the ulnar nerve in his throwing arm a year ago, and he said the ulnar nerve is not going to be a problem, but his first college game, nerves might be a problem.
Well, Texas A&M's defense is definitely going to be a problem also. But he threw for over 3,000 yards his senior year in high school. He can definitely put it up.
Kid's got quite an arm. 3rd and 3 right here. And he wants to throw for the first down. Guns it over the middle. First down, and it's to Martin. Martin with those quick moves, and is hit from behind. Fumble. Still loose. It looked like A&M recovered, and they did. Martin, the little guy, at 165 pounds, the man they want to have the ball, and Todd Howard, number 73, the man who shook it loose from it. Now, that's a tough break for LSU.
Turnover after big play. Sammy Martin is very quick. He's excellent out of the backfield, and watch him make some moves here. Problem is, he runs into trouble. He's very light. He's got to tuck that ball. He gets hit and stripped right there. The ball, you can see it. It wasn't under his elbow. He didn't have it in tight, and that's a turnover.
Todd Howard did the job from behind. And a flag goes down before the ball is snapped. Texas A&M has it at the LSU 43, and it's going to be a procedure call against the Aggies. Miami now leading 21-0 as they play tonight. There's Sammy Martin on the sideline. 5'11", 165 pounds. They don't know how many times he can carry the ball because he is only 165. It's a little unusual to find running backs of that weight anymore. It used to be the kind of weight you'd have in scat backs, I think they called it.
Well, he's a tough kid, but they don't think he can carry the ball more than 15 times a game, and that's going to hurt him eventually.
1st and 15, Texas A&M. They'll give it off to Woodside. Woodside hit at the line of scrimmage and swarmed. Henry Thomas, number 96, was right there along with Roland Barbe, an all-SEC selection a year ago, and they stacked him up at the line of scrimmage. It's going to be 2nd down and 14 to go for Murray. Well, Murray's got to feel very comfortable back there as a quarterback. He's only a junior, and he's just going to own every record in the books, and he's done just about all you can do as a quarterback, and he has so many weapons around him. Murray wants to throw. Time against the 3-man rush. Tipped and intercepted. It's picked off by Juan Sancho. A 10-yard return as the sophomore from Avondale took the tip pass and puts LSU in Aggie territory.
Here's a heartbreaker for a quarterback. He actually hit the receiver in the hands. He didn't get his fingertips over the tip of the ball. He went up, tip drill, picked off by Sancho. Really, those shouldn't go down as interceptions for a quarterback. That's a receiver's fault. He's got to get those fingertips over the edge of the ball and pull it in.
That was Keith Woodside out of the backfield, and there is a look at Murray. With 3 turnovers in space of about 45 seconds. 7:02 to go. First half. LSU in good territory. This is McGee in motion. They'll give it to Martin, and a flag goes down. I don't think they got the play off in time.
LSU cannot afford to have these penalties all the time on first down. There's a lot of pressure on their offense to move the ball, and they can't keep starting 1st and 25, 1st and 15. It's killing them.
And it's a procedure penalty against LSU. It'll put them back at 1st and 15. It's the one thing you don't want to do to a redshirt freshman quarterback is continually have him in long yardage situations.
Or to offensive coordinators. Neither of them like it. I think part of the problem is it is his first game. It's a different cadence. They've had a back move, a lineman move. They've got to get over these jitters quickly, though.
Hodson out of Matthews replaces Jeff Wickersham, who threw for a lot of yards in his LSU career. 1st and 15, and the crowd almost 78,000 strong, just waiting to erupt. Hodson deep sideline has this man out there. That's Davis. Davis inside the 25 to the 23-yard line where Jeff Holley had to knock him out of bounds. Davis out of Shreveport, the leading returning receiver with 31 catches. This time he got one for 30 yards.
Well, this is just an excellent throw. Perfectly right on the line by Hodson. He split his zone. Wendell Davis was picked up short by a zone man, then picked up deep, and he found the pocket, and it's just a perfect throw. It's tough to defense that play. That's the toughest throw in football.
First down, LSU at the A&M 22-yard line. Derek Salisbury, number 28. Another one of those freshmen in at wide receiver. Bill Arnsparger has a lot of freshmen. Look out for the end around, and this is it. They got Salisbury into the ball game and immediately got him the football. A little dipsy-do. 12 yards for Salisbury.
Well, for LSU to win this game, they've got to have some big plays, and end around is one of the big ones. It's very difficult to break this all the way from the 30-yard line, however, because pursuit comes in. But when you pick up 10 yards, that's successful.
1st and 10, LSU. Arnsparger already into the bag of tricks. They give it to Martin. Martin inside the 5 to the 4-yard line. Torrington had to come up from the free safety spot to make the tackle. Along with Johnny Holland, the All-American linebacker, as Bill Arnsparger watches his team driving for what could be the tying touchdown. If you were Texas A&M's defensive coordinator right now, wouldn't you be a little bit surprised?
Well, they were worried coming in. They really didn't know what to expect with two new running backs and a quarterback, and they do have the weapons out of wide receiver. If they can get Sammy Martin to get some successful runs, they're going to move the ball because they have good wide receivers.
Garland Jean-Baptiste, number 44, checks in at fullback as they go with a 2 tight end offense. Ronnie Halliburton also in there. Martin is the deep man in the eye, and Martin has it on the toss. Not much room to run, but he got the most out of it, even picking up a yard. And who made the tackle? Again, Kip Torrington, the free safety, after he'd gotten by number 65, Larry Kelm. They strung the play out pretty well.
One of the problems running against A&M is they're so fast, as I alluded to earlier. They have speed all over the field, and if you run laterally, you're not going to pick up many yards.
Of course, it's a little tough to run right up the gut against them, too, because they're so big and strong.
I'm surprised they didn't go with play action down here. In this part of the field, it's much more effective than running wide.
Having all sorts of problems with the clock right now. That's why we have it stopped. We'll have to go by the sideline markers as the clock is now being set back to where it should be. And they're running it back down, and the down and distance markers are not working upon the clock. But LSU has been able to move it inside the Texas A&M 5, and it will be 3rd down. And about 2 yards to go. This is the renewal of a rivalry that started in 1899. And what's so interesting about these clubs is they all recruit in the same place. And these are high school teammates For example, Holland and Williams both went to the same high school, but Holland goes to Texas A&M, and of course, the celebrated Williams goes to LSU. So you get a lot of guys who played together, who were teammates, who end up now being enemies, at least for the length of the football game. And 8 Louisiana residents going to A&M, 13 Texans playing at LSU. Hodgson so far, 3 out of 6, 42 yards. He's done a good job. Here's Harvey Williams on the sideline. He's only been in for one play, did not touch the ball. 6'2", 205, a lot of speed. Very confident young man in his own ability.
Oh, when you compare yourself to Bo before you've even carried a ball, Heisman Trophy winner, you definitely are confident.
Tell you what, if I was that big and could run that fast, I'd be confident too. They're still working on the clock right now, as Hodgson is at the sideline talking with Bill Orange Parker and the coaching staff.
Well, if I was wide receiver for LSU, either Wendell Davis or Raji McGee, I'd be praying that A&M played the same defense as LSU did for their touchdown. Play off me in the end zone, let me just run a 5-yard pattern and score an easy touchdown.
It's third down and about 2 yards to go. LSU and Texas A&M both with 76 total yards in the first quarter, so it has not been an offensive mismatch. And now they've gone back to a minute and now inside a minute again, and I'm really not sure what they're trying to get down to. But they passed it 3 times, whatever it is. Ball spotted for 3.5, and Pat, does this delay hurt the LSU offense? I mean, they have the momentum going.
Well, it is frustrating when you have momentum. At the same time, it gave their offensive coordinator a little more time to think over play. If I were them right now, being on the left hash mark, I think I'd have to roll Hodgson out to the right, have an option run pass, try to get your tight end deep in the end zone, your wide receiver to come back at the flag, try to spread him out and sneak in the end zone. If you can, pass it if he's open.
The starting tight end is Brian Kinch, number 49. We'll keep an eye on him. Only caught 4 passes all of last year, but is a good receiver, has good hands. He's a local product out of Baton Rouge. Clock is now down to 6 seconds, and we'll see what they do with it this time.
I'll tell you.
Well, they've taken it down to 0 again and back up to 5:58 and counting down. They can't stop this silly thing. So we'll check out the clock situation when we come back. It's 7-0 A&M.
Back in Tiger Stadium, Tim Brando on the sidelines. The problem they're having with the clock is getting the numeral 5 on the minute side. Now they're not having any difficulty with the seconds, only the minutes. And this is an area of the field where Brian Kitchen, the LSU tight end, could be on the receiving end. I'm wondering what you might think, Pat McAnally.
I agree with that. I would go to him. I think it's a good chance. Whenever you get down inside the 5-yard line, tight end with a big body can be open without having to have space between himself and the defender. So I think tight ends, we used to go to Danny Ross quite a bit in Cincinnati, and it's very effective around the league.
The scoreboard now says, hello, ref, pick up the phone. And if they're trying to get down to 5 minutes and something in the first quarter, we still have 3 minutes to go. Oh, it was a great start. 3 turnovers in 45 seconds, a couple of big, long drives.
We're back up to 7 minutes and 50 seconds now.
It's got to be very frustrating for players standing there waiting to make plays and not having the opportunity to do it.
I'll tell you, when I was in the pros, punting, I hated it when a quarter would end or they'd have a TV timeout. You're really ready to play. You're psyched up mentally. Physically, you want to go. They had momentum, and now they've had to wait 5 or 10 minutes, and this is a big, big play for them.
Let's go back down to Tim on the sideline. Tim?
Mike, we do have some good news. We've been waiting for some time. We thought it was going to be 5:58. I don't know if it's because they're having difficulty getting 5, the numeral 5, up there or not, but they tell us now they will stop the clock with 6 minutes and 9 seconds left. You have to wonder now how much this Tiger team feel. How many times can they go over this one play that has been designed to get 2 yards and a touchdown? They still have about another minute or so in which to wait.
Tell you what, Tim, I think all of us who've been around offensive coaches who would use all this time, they probably haven't sent the play in yet.
I wish I'd have brought a book up here. I could have finished a couple of chapters at least, speed reading.
You were talking about TV timeouts. How many of those did you have at Harvard?
Hey, we got on regional TV twice. What do you mean?
Did you?
Yeah, against
and you were player of the game at least once, weren't you?
2 times I sent in heavy ballots. All my friends sent them in.
There's Jean-Baptiste, who has just checked in the play before this. And a good look at Tom Hodgson, the redshirt freshman quarterback. Seen several teams this year go with the redshirt freshman quarterback, and coaches apparently deciding against experience and on natural talent. Don't forget, be with us next Saturday, September 20th. Our coverage begins at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific. Larry and Bino will host the Lincoln Mercury College Football Scoreboard Show. And then at 7:30, Penn State takes on Boston College. BC won, of course, today to even their record at 1-1. Immediately following the game, stay tuned for the Hartford Insurance Group College Football Report. Larry and Bino will be back for that. And the clock has now gone back to 0. Somebody go out and buy a stopwatch, and let's get it going.
That's ridiculous. I've never seen it. The referees should just be counting down. They should have a watch on their own. They should ignore the scoreboard. It's not that important.
I think that's what they've done. The scoreboard setting at 0-0. And let's go back to Tim. Maybe he can tell us what's going on.
Well, they're having so many problems, Mike and Pat, that they've decided just to leave the clock alone, put it at 0, keep the time official with the officials down here. We'll try to keep you posted. Now they're back underway.
Excellent choice on their part. It's 3rd and 2 from the 3.5-yard line. Martin in motion. Sets out on the wing. They'll send McGee back to the near side. It is play action. Hudson goes. He hit Sammy Martin, and Sammy Martin was wide open, and Pat, they did it with the motion.
Well, it's effective. A lot of times, if you need 2 or 3 yards for first down or touchdown, if you can put a flanker or a halfback in motion, he gets a step on the defender, and if he gets a good throw and the timing's there, it's a touchdown. That's what happened there. It was perfect timing. Pretty darn good throw for a rookie quarterback.
It was perfect, and Sammy Martin gets the first touchdown of the 1986 season for LSU. Ron Lewis, who was 27 out of 27 in points after, comes on, drills this one, and a flag is down. Procedure, LSU, and they'll have to try it again.
I guess you could say LSU went into their 8-minute offense on that play.
Just about. Take a look again at Martin as they set him on a wing and then set a man in motion, and it looked like somebody just got lost on the coverage.
One of the difficulties down in the red zone, deep inside the 10-yard line, is picking up every man. A lot of times the defenders will get picked or they won't be able to stay with the guy, and it's a touchdown. I think that's what happened. He got picked.
They'll mark off 5 yards against LSU, so this is now a 25-yard extra point by Ron Lewis, the junior from New Orleans. And 5 yards made no difference at all. He pumps it through. And with 6:06 left to go in the first half, we've tied it up. And there it is after he threw the first touchdown pass of his college career.
Larry Burnett back here in the ESPN studios. Illinois and USC playing at the Coliseum. The Trojans have gone ahead in that game. Illinois led 6-0 on 2 Chris Ciambicos field goals. 3rd and goal here for the Trojans. Aaron Emanuel takes the handoff. Little second effort. Gets him over for the touchdown. The point after touchdown was good. 7-6 now. USC leading. That game is in the second quarter. Let's go back to Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge.
Thank you very much, Larry. We've got a beauty here. 7-7 first quarter. Approximately 6 minutes to go in the first period. And there's Matt DeFrank, who will kick it away. Rod Harris standing at his own 3-yard line. So LSU has answered the one question that a lot of people had about this ball club. Can they move the ball? And if that drive is any indication, yes, they can. DeFrank's first kick only got to about the 11-yard line. As we kick off from the 35, of course, in college this year. Got more of this one. Taking it to 5-yard line. Back up to about the 22 goes Anthony Taylor. One of the up men on kick coverage after a 17-yard return. And the scoring drive for LSU took only 56 seconds. 5 plays, 48 yards. And Hodson got his first touchdown pass of his college career. That's got to make that young man feel a lot better. Texas A&M will come out and start from its own 22. We thank you for the greeting here in Baton Rouge, the home of great food, and dogs named Fido that are spelled P-H-I-D-E-A-U-S. Give it straight up the middle, and Vick is going absolutely nowhere. Carl Wilson, the right end, made the stop.
One thing A&M has to do, they have to get a drive here. I don't care how confident you are as a quarterback, and Kevin Murray is a confident athlete. He's had 2 interceptions, both of them questionable type interceptions for quarterback, but he needs to move the ball right now.
Texas A&M will face a 2nd and about 8, and the scoreboard has just stopped functioning altogether. Vick and Woodside are the running backs. This is Woodside across the 25, 26, maybe 27-yard line. Carl Wilson, number 72, and Henry Thomas, number 96, in on the stop.
We talk a lot about A&M's linebackers, and they have some great ones, but LSU has, of course, Michael Brooks, but Toby Caston's very underrated, and the other guys, Eric Hill beat out Ron Sancho, who had made All-America as a freshman last year.
That's right. They are loaded on defense, both clubs, but the offenses are so good right now that they have both scored in the first half. Third down, about 5 yards to go. And Murray wants to throw against the three-man rush. 8 men back in coverage, dumps it off to Vick, his fullback, gets to the 32, tripped up by Nicky Hazard, and depending on the spot, he is very, very close.
One of the key matchups in this game will be number 77, Marshall Land. He's huge. He's going to be going against Roland Barbe, also number 77. And right here, he takes him on, but that's definitely holding. Got away with that one. But I know that they're very concerned about him doing his own. He's got to hold his own.
Land's a great story. Signed with Texas Tech, did not play there, went to junior college for a couple of years, came here, has been up to 392. Right now, he is a svelte 347 at 6'6". All in all, the guy is big enough to have bolts in his neck. First down and 10 for A&M. And they'll toss it to Woodside. No, sir. Chris Carrier was the last man to get there, but Darrell Phillips, number 62, and Roland Barbe and Nicky Hazard were all there on the tackle. Land, even though he has only played 17 snaps last year, has pro potential, according to Jackie Sherrill.
He has very quick feet. They're very impressed with his ability to move his feet at that size. I'll tell you something. When he ran for ASB president in junior college, the guy was 380 pounds. Would you have voted against him?
No, sir. He's going for his master's and PhD in sociology. So if you were afraid not to vote for him, he can still talk you into it. Murray's back to throw over the middle. Hits Thompson. Gets across the 40. He'll be shy of the first down. Hazard again in on the tackle. He replaces the only non-returning linebacker, Sean Burks, who was the number one tackler on the club a year ago.
A&M's bread and butter are short control passes to their backs or their receivers underneath. That's why I was surprised to see him go up top early and they had that interception. I'm sure they'll return to that type of offensive thinking, the short stuff.
Rod Bernstein, number 29, has not caught a pass, and they like to use him in that control passing game. He caught 6 in the Cotton Bowl.
Well, that was one of the keys to that game, was he really opened up the rest of the receivers in the running game, and I know they want to get the ball to number 29, Bernstein.
LSU has called a timeout, and again, we apologize for the fact that we cannot give you the time remaining in the quarter. The scoreboard clock has not been working for several minutes, either on down and distance most of the time or the time left. We told you a minute ago about Sean Burks, who was lost to the Texas A&M defense. Neither of these clubs lost much on defense. Texas A&M did lose an outstanding player, Domingo Bryant, in the secondary, but their biggest losses came in wide receiver and running back and an All-American offensive lineman, Doug Williams. LSU lost a big chunk of their offense with Dalton Hilliard, Gary James, and Jeff Wickersham, both running backs and the starting quarterback. But apparently Bill Arnsparger wasn't trying to do a number on us when he told us, hey, we've got some talent back there. We can still move the ball.
Yeah, he scoffed at me when I said, you've got a young backfield. Are you going to go conservative tomorrow night? And he said, no, we like the people we have. We have confidence in our quarterback, and our running backs played a lot last year. They didn't run up a lot of stats, but we're confident they can pick up the blitzes and they can run the ball, and I think he's right.
It is a Saturday football night in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where they love their football as much or more than anybody in the country. Murray has not had a pass hit the ground yet. 5 teammates have caught it. 2 LSU players have caught it. Third down and about 2. Big play here, Murray on the option. Got it back to Woodside. Room to run. Got to the 45-yard line. Diving tackle by Eric Hill, who saved an even bigger gain, but it's going to be a first down for the Aggies of A&M. Woodside really came on at the end of 1985. The young man has some speed and moves, and Jackie Sherrill has filled this team with quality athletes. And that's what you have to consistently win programs. And look at this. Their average on first down, only 1.4 yards, but it's early. First and 10, A&M. Murray 4-man rush this time, quickly over the middle. Complete to Bernstein. They finally got the tight end the football, and he's into LSU territory at the 36, where Steve Rehage had to make the tackle, the strong safety.
Well, Rod Bernstein is a big part of this offense. I know in '86 they want to get the ball to him early in the games. They want to open up the defenses with him underneath because he can really run. He was running back in high school. You're like, he sure held the ball loose there, didn't he? He looked like a running back right there.
20-yard gain. Bernstein averaged 13.9 a catch a year ago. 1st and 10. Texas A&M. They'll send Thompson out to the far side as a wide receiver. Give it to Vick. Vick down to the 30, driven out of bounds. Good hit down there by Pearson. Let's check in the studio with Larry Burnett for a scoreboard update.
All right, gentlemen, let's check in on some games that are in progress tonight. First of all, Texas Tech going at number 2 Miami. That game in the Orange Bowl. The Canes lead at 21-0. It's in the first. Also in the first, number 15 Baylor. A scoreless tie now with Louisiana Tech in the first. In the first quarter, it is number 19 Arkansas on top of Mississippi. The score there is 7-0. And USC is leading Illinois 7-6 in the second. Let's go back to Baton Rouge.
Second down, about 3 yards to go. Murray looks like he may be changing the play, puts Woodside on the wing, wants to throw the quick pass near side, and completes it out there to Shea Walker. And Walker is inside the 25-yard line for another first down. Caston was over there to make the tackle along with Chris Carrier, but it's enough to get the first down.
That's a veteran play by the quarterback and Shea Walker. They've worked a lot together. They saw what appeared to be a blitz look. They just audible down to a quick little hitch pattern, easy completion.
But the penalty will nullify the play as it goes against A&M, and Jackie Sherrill's not going to be happy about that.
We were talking to Jackie yesterday. He is not shy or modest about the people he recruits. You were talking about how great his athletes are. Remember, he told us yesterday that everyone but one player on his first 20 defensive players would be in the NFL within a couple of years.
Well, I think he said 10 of the starting 11, and then started pointing at backup guys and said they'll be in there. And of course, I don't think coaches are going to say that if they don't really believe it. And I'll bet you that Jackie Sherrill's right. I bet those guys end up there.
I know one thing: he doesn't have to pay the contracts.
Second down, 9 yards to go. Ira Valentine checks in at fullback for the first time. He's number 42, and he'll get the ball on the draw. Valentine to the 30. 27-yard line. Lawrence got a piece of him and knocked him down. Carrier was over to help out. Valentine out of Marshall, Texas. A senior, 200 pounds. Carried the ball only 30 times last year.
Fastest guy in the team. He runs 4.42.
We're getting down to field goal territory, and it might be a problem for Texas A&M. The regular place kicker, Eric Franklin, is out with a stress fracture in his foot. And we'll have to see which one of two backup place kickers, either Slater or Talbot, would take his place as they go for the field goal situation. Third down, about 2 yards to go. And they've got the first down inside the 25-yard line as Valentine stopped by Lawrence. Texas A&M, very impressive. They don't hesitate to go to the bench, bring in those second and third team backs, and they can all do the job. It makes you wonder sometimes when coaches go to a program that has struggled and they can turn it around the way Jackie Sherrill has. There's just about 10 of them that seem to be able to win anywhere. Look at what Lou Holtz did today at Notre Dame. Almost pulled a major upset. Lou Holtz is going to win wherever he goes. First and 10, A&M. Murray wants to throw for it. Very cool in the pocket. Throw is complete. He's got Shea Walker again, this time down to the 12-yard line. Pearson is in on the tackle. Also Chris Carrier, but Murray just stands back there. Very cool and drills it.
96, Henry Thomas. He's a great player, but when you're being double-teamed all over the field, it's awful tough to get pressure. But if they have to double-team him, they will eventually get some people in there and put some pressure on Murray.
Calvin Whitfield, number 54, who's the backup right guard, and Matt Wilson, the starting center, number 50, on pass protection. It is another first down for Texas A&M, and Murray needs to call a timeout, but there is a flag down, and we'll check the flag. He may not have called a timeout in time before the 25-second clock expired. And it's a procedure call against A&M. And they've got the timeout on top of it. And now they're explaining it to Jackie Sherrill. Jackie Sherrill, when he was talking to us yesterday, he was so excited about the tradition at Texas A&M and the spirit of the school, the things he saw when he went down there. And it's nice to see somebody happy where they are.
Well, there was a lot of tradition there, a lot of crazy people there, but the reason they're winning on the football field now is he recruits athletes as well as anyone in the country.
Sure.
He can look at a high school kid and he'll find another position for him. And I think that's what makes him a winner.
Well, he took a couple of people that were not linebackers, made them linebackers. Somebody like Holland, who's only played there 2 years, and Jackie Sherrill says for the 2 years he's played there, he's been the best linebacker in the country.
An All-America linebacker, and he was a high school quarterback. And then they moved him to free safety, and they found a spot for him at linebacker, and he's one of the best in the country. That's foresight.
One thing A&M has been able to do so far, Pat McAnally, is control Michael Brooks. He's not made a big play against him.
No, we have not heard his name much.
And right now, Michael Brooks is not in the ballgame. And Murray is going out to change the play, and listen to the crowd on 1st and 15. They try to get him with the blitz. He throws to the end zone, overthrown. Tried to hit Walker. Out there in coverage was Jefferson.
I think teams often embody the spirit of their coach. And Jackie Sherrill, we came in here, we said, I know that, there's going to be a lot of noise here. He said, I don't hear the noise. I didn't hear it when I was a player and I played here, and I don't expect our players to have problems. And right there, all they did was signal out to the receiver, and they got the ball off on time.
Murray is 7 out of 10. 2 interceptions, though, 74 yards. And the touchdown. Again, we're still in the first quarter. It must be under a minute by now. 2nd and 15. They'll give it to Vick, the fullback up the middle, to about the 13-yard line, and he is stuffed by Oliver Lawrence. Lawrence splitting times with Nicky Hazard at that inside linebacker spot.
One thing LSU came into this game knowing they were going to have to do is take away those short passes. And the way to do that is to play a man coverage with your 5 underneath, your linebackers. Give your 3 deep guys a zone.
That is the end of the first quarter. Our score here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, LSU 7 and Texas A&M 7.
Well, there's your typical LSU fan. At least he spelled it right.
I tell you, that's why I went to college.
Good to have those kind of fans.
You went to Harvard and went to class. Big play here. 3rd down, 12 yards to go for Texas A&M. 2 wide receivers to the near side, and Murray says, I can't hear to call signals. He walked away from center, and Matt Wilson, the center, was still over center. Now, what about the rule on this, Pat?
Well, they've changed it. If they continue doing this, it'll eventually be a penalty against LSU. And so I don't know how they're going to control the crowd, but
that'll light them up, wouldn't it?
Phil Arnsparger is going to have to go out there with a megaphone and tell them to be quiet or something. I don't know, but I think that's a good rule. I think it's ridiculous when a team can't run a play at line of scrimmage.
It's something they had to do because the fans realized how much power they had over the game. So it's still 3rd and 12. We're in a 7-7 game. Mike Patrick, Pat McAnally, and Tim Brando, glad you could be with us. Listen to these guys. Murray to throw all day over the middle. Touch it. Rob Bernstein, the tight end, covered by Jefferson, but not well enough, and Murray drilled it. Boy, it's very something.
It's not bad having a tight end that can run like Rod Bernstein. As we mentioned earlier, he was a running back. He's really fast. This is unusual for a tight end. He's out a wide receiver. He releases outside, and now he'll just run across the middle of the field. Murray finds him with an excellent throw. It's very difficult to defend a tight end when he's out a wide receiver. It really confuses him.
Scott Slater on to try the point after, knocks it through. Murray, 8 out of 11, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 87 yards, and Texas A&M, on the strength of his arm, has taken a 14-7 lead.
Tonight's game between Texas A&M and LSU is being brought to you by AC Delco, the smart parts.
Texas A&M leading LSU with 14:55 to go in the second quarter. Scoring drive of 78 yards. The second scoring drive of the first half, where Texas A&M has gone virtually the length of the field. The first was 75. This one ate up 6 minutes and 11 seconds on the clock and resulted in a 13-yard touchdown pass from Murray, who has 2 TD passes and 2 interceptions here in the first half. One of those interceptions certainly not his fault, as it was tipped, and the other was a great play by the defense.
Well, as we said before that
LSU's
drive,
receiving team. I'm sorry, Pat, go ahead.
as we said before that drive, I think it was important for A&M to reestablish themselves. They were able to mix up the run and the passes, and they brought Bernstein in. And the next time they get the ball, I think it'll help Vic and Woodside on the runs. If you got a tight end that's getting open, it really opens up the defense.
This is Tony Moss, the young man, the redshirt freshman out of Bossier City. He goes back with number 3384, who's standing at the near sideline to await the kick with Scott Slater and Texas A&M's 12th man kickoff coverage team. These guys could be the best coverage team in all of football, not just college. I mean, they don't allow anything. All walk-ons, and they just love the chance to get down there. Moss at the 10. Got some room outside if he can make it, but he tripped up at the 17-yard line. Ronnie Glenn, number 9, the man who got him. And they just cover those kicks beautifully.
Now let's see this touchdown again. And this play, Kevin Murray has all day. You give a veteran quarterback this much time to look over the field, he's going to have a touchdown. That's exactly what he did. He found Rod Bernstein wide open in the end zone, hit him right in the numbers, easy score.
They'll mark the ball near the 18-yard line. LSU will take over. And they've got Harvey Williams in the ball game as a tailback behind Garland Jean-Baptiste. Williams 22, Baptiste 44. Both wide receivers to the near side of the field for quarterback Hodson. And they'll give it off to Williams. Williams hit at the 21-yard line by Johnny Holland, who stood him straight up, but Williams had the strength to get about another yard, and those guys both out of Hempstead High School.
Well, it's not often you get to tackle a teammate of yours from high school. Holland's just a great linebacker. He has great lateral movement, and he meets him head on. Oh, that's a big hit. I'll tell you, Williams is not only fast, but he's very strong. They think he can go inside, outside, anywhere on the field he wants to, and I think he's going to.
Tony Moss, number 6, back in for LSU at a wide receiver spot, and they'll send 2 wide receivers to the near side. Moss and 82, Wendell Davis. Second down, 6 yards to go for the Tigers. Hodson wants to throw. Plenty of time. Near side. Is it caught? It is. And it was Wendell Davis coming back. Flowers all over him, but a perfect throw. Let's check in right now with Larry Burnett, the scoreboard update.
All right, Mike, you've got a good one there. Illinois and Southern Cal have a good one going on at the LA Coliseum with just under a minute left in the second quarter. It was 9-7 Illinois, but Rodney Peete gets a lot of time. He throws to Ken Henry, and watch this play. He gets it. Now, does he get in the end zone? They said he did. It was 14-9 USC. That's the score at half.
First and 10, LSU, and Martin nailed in the backfield. Didn't get a foot as Rod Sadler, the preseason All-American, stuffed him. There is a flag down, however, on the play. Here's the preliminary signal. And it's going to be a hold against LSU.
Rod Sadler showing not only great strength, but also his speed. He was in the backfield before the running back. He even took a step.
Well, you'd hope if they held Sadler, or they wouldn't have held Sadler because they didn't do a very good job on it. 82 tackles, 4 sacks a year ago. Some tremendous defensive statistics for this front 7 that comes back intact. They're so strong in the front 3. Here's the call. And it's declined because of the loss on the play. So it'll bring up second and about 15 for LSU. Williams checks back in the ball game as Martin goes to the sideline, and we'll probably see that alternation all night long. They'll send Raji McGee, the flanker, to the top of your screen, and Davis, number 82, to the near side. Second and 15. Little trap play inside to Williams. He'll break it for about 6 yards to the 34-yard line. To Corrington up from the safety. Makes the tackle. Williams, 6'2", 205 out of Hempstead, Texas.
One thing Bill Arnsparger said about young Mr. Williams is he runs a little too upright right now. He's got to learn to get his shoulders underneath and break some tackles. You know, when you're so fast a lot of times, all you want to do is get your head back and run. And I think he's going to have to learn against these bigger players he's going to encounter in college. He's going to have to get under their pads to progress forward.
Third down, 9 yards to go. We'll go out of the shotgun with Hodson. But Hodson doesn't like what he sees on defense in the shotgun formation, and he'll burn another LSU timeout. 12:38 to go in the half. Texas A&M leads by a touchdown. The LSU cheerleaders, with 12:38 to go in the first half, have seen their club fall behind 14-7 and facing a 3rd and 9 situation from their own 34. Moon over Baton Rouge. How did we do that? 2 timeouts left for Texas A&M.
Why there's so many lunatics out here.
Either that's a small moon or a very large football. 3rd and 9 for Hodson. Both wide receivers to the far side of the field, the wide side, and Hodson against the 4-man rush under pressure. Stepped up in the pocket but couldn't make it. And he is dropped on a blitz by Adam Bob, who comes into the ball game. He was supposed to be wearing number 24, but is out there in number 23 right now, the sophomore linebacker. And Jackie Sherrill has got depth at linebacker you wouldn't believe. He's got about 8 guys he thinks can play anywhere. Matt DeFrank will go back to punt it. And Woodside is deep to receive at his own 33. DeFrank not as high this time, and Woodside lets it bounce. And he rolls inside the 30-yard line. Woodside may have made a mistake on that one, letting it hit, but he got away with it. It did not take a big bounce. Texas A&M 14, LSU 7, back in a moment.
LSU defensive lineman Roland Barbet joins the fight against drugs.
Participating in sports, whether on a college or professional level, seems to be a one-time thing. It's a very enjoyable experience, and I've liked it a lot. I feel very blessed to be a part of it. I think there's one thing that can really cut your time short is participating in drugs. Drugs really do not have a place in sports, and I think it's really not worth the time or the effort to try experience with them.
The preceding brought to you by the College Football Association.
Now the Tiger will have to turn around and go back on defense with 11:51 to go in the first half. Texas A&M's football at its own 31-yard line, leading 14-7. Murray has the backs in the eye, and he'll give it to Woodside, who is leveled. Carl Wilson planted him in the backfield. What a shot.
Keith Woodside had a nice welcome into LSU territory right here. Carl Wilson's very underrated. He was an honorable mention All-American last year, and he was hurt most of the year. He was a sophomore All-American the year before, and he's going to have a big year. He definitely introduced himself.
Woodside doesn't underrate him, I'll guarantee you that. 2nd and 11 as they had a loss of a yard. Harris, the man in motion. Big pressure on Murray this time. They chase him out of the pocket. He throws sideline, complete to Woodside. 50, 46-yard line of LSU. Brought down by Nicky Hackett, the linebacker. The officers of the day out of the core of cadets really enjoying it for Texas A&M. Boy, Murray is just really cool. You chase him out of the pocket, it doesn't seem to bother him at all.
That's the thing. Kevin Murray has a healthy ankle now. He rolls and he buys himself some time. Woodside's waving both arms. He wants the ball. He catches it, breaks inside, picks up another 15, 20 yards.
24-yard gain on that play. 1st and 10. They'll give it to Valentine on the toss. Valentine slips as he crosses the 45. Got to about the 43-yard line. Steve Rehaj on top of him.
Nobody knows the frustration of being so wide open that you have time to wave your arms. And so seldom do you get the ball. I know Keith Woodside is thanking his lucky stars that Murray found him and hit him with that ball.
Now you get the feeling Murray is going to find the open receiver.
He's got a lot of time. LSU is going to have to start blitzing. They can't let him sit back there and pick them apart.
Which is one thing they've done so well with Brooks in the past.
They've not been bringing him a lot. They've stopped the running game, but they're not stopping the passing game.
2nd down, 7 yards to go here. Valentine and Woodside the backs, and Murray gets it out to Valentine. Nice move inside the 40 to about the 36-yard line. Rehaj again on the tackle. Out of Metairie, Louisiana. He's had a busy night so far. Valentine made that first quick little move, got him another 6-7 yards.
Well, this shows the depth of Texas A&M. Ira Valentine's a backup receiver, and here he comes against Michael Brooks, consensus All-American. He just faked him right out of his uniform. That's a great move.
Well, you get by Brooks, you're not only good, but you better be thankful, too. 1st and 10, Texas A&M. Woodside, the man in motion. They'll give it to Valentine. The remaining back, and Valentine stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Toby Caston, number 69, a linebacker who does not get a lot of attention. Sometimes you have somebody like Michael Brooks, who is such a great player and gets the attention, and somebody like Caston, who makes a lot of tackles, doesn't get much. He had 99 tackles a year ago. Darrell Phillips now checks in at the nose guard spot. as Bill Arnsparger and Jackie Sherrill both alternate personnel on a hot night in Baton Rouge. 9:27 counting in the first half. Texas A&M facing 2nd and 9 from the LSU 34. Murray, here comes the pressure this time, and he unloads. Incomplete. Good coverage as Harris was blanketed by Jefferson. And there is, the way the crowd was reacting, I thought maybe there was a flag down, but there is not. And Murray got leveled.
One thing they haven't been successful on is throwing these fly patterns. They've had some nice coverage by the cornerbacks. This ball's up for grabs. Anybody's ball. That's not interference.
Harris reached out there at the end of the play with that left hand and sort of slapped at Norman Jefferson. Maybe that's what the crowd wanted.
Any good receiver will do that, though.
3rd down, 9 yards to go, and Texas A&M with a very balanced attack. And they picked up most of the yardage in the air. Here's a big one on 3rd and 9. Murray has Valentine remaining, and Murray wants to use another timeout. It's surprising that a veteran quarterback is going to have to use a timeout like that.
When you're facing Bill Arnsparger's defense, though, he's so creative. He'll put people all over the field. He's going to confuse, no matter how experienced a quarterback is. I don't care if you've been in the pros 15 years. He can fool you.
Got another scoreboard update. Let's go to Larry Burnett.
All right, it is turning into a rout at the Orange Bowl in Miami. The number 2 ranked Canes have already gotten 3 touchdown passes from Vinny Testaverde, and he shows a little more versatility here as he can't throw the ball, so he decides to run 12 yards and watch the official in the end zone at the end of this play here. Oh, yeah, up close and personal, 28-3. Miami leading now. That game is in the 2nd quarter at the Orange Bowl in Miami. Let's go back to Baton Rouge.
The Canes are tough. So are both of these ball clubs. Texas A&M under Jackie Sherrill, LSU under Bill Arnsparger. Right now, A&M facing a 3rd and 9 situation. And in those situations so far in this ball game, they have been 3 out of 4 on those conversions. And Murray has just had an exceptional first half, already 10 out of 14, 119 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did have those 2 interceptions. 3rd and 9, they'll send Mickey Washington into the ball game. He's the flanker to the near side as they go to a double wing. Murray under some pressure over the middle, complete to Harris. Harris inside the 25 to the 24-yard line. Jefferson on his back. But depending on where they spotted it, looks like a first down for Texas A&M. And Murray is only a junior. Jackie Sherrill can only stand on the sidelines and thank his lucky stars he got that young man.
Well, Rod Harris is extremely fast. He's 4.4, and they think he'll be the greatest receiver to ever play at Texas A&M.
He's got a chance to break the reception mark. He needs 35 this season to be number 1. On the toss to the short side, and LSU defends that one rather well. Chased him out of bounds. Rehaj again with the stop on Woodside.
One thing that surprises me right now is LSU has really stopped all the runs. Most of the runs have been very few big plays, and A&M's been forced to almost throw as many times as they run. And Jackie Sherrill likes to have it at a 2-to-1 ratio. As we said, 65% run, 35% pass. But that's a good coach. He's adjusting to the flow of this game. He's putting the ball up because he needs to.
And for the most part, LSU has not been able to stop the passing game of Texas A&M. 8:47 to go in the half, 2nd and 12. Back to Woodside. Here comes the blitz. Rehaj on the blitz. Murray gets away and just threw that one away. Oh, man, the LSU bench wanted an intentional grounding. He did have a receiver within 6 or 7 yards, but you don't have to be a Rhodes Scholar candidate as you were to understand he wasn't trying to get him the ball.
Well, I think he was within 6 or 7 yards on the 4th bounce.
He just buried this thing.
Again, you can see Kevin Murray is really moving. His mobility is back all the way now. You got out of the pocket and you released the ball, but that is definitely a grounding.
Yeah, that's very difficult for the official not to throw the flag on that, although that's such a tough call for them to make. But if the official's standing 3 yards out of bounds and it almost hits him, you got an idea.
72,000 fans here called that penalty.
They've gone with a nickel back. Greg Jackson, number 35, into the package for LSU. And now we've got another timeout for Texas A&M on 3rd and 12.
LSU's been able to take all their timeouts away simply with the way they're aligning their defenses and they're covering people. They're confusing Kevin Murray, although when they give him time, he's finding the right guy, but they've thrown away all their timeouts.
Now, what has LSU been able to do on the last couple of plays that are differently to put some pressure on Murray? Because for such a long time, he was able to stand in the pocket.
Well, one thing that's going to hurt A&M's game plan is if they aren't able to run the ball, LSU is going to start coming after them, not only on the defensive line, but also with linebackers.
With 8:38 to go in the half, let's check in with Larry Burnett and more scores. Larry?
All right, Mike, time to check in on some Southwest Conference scores. Games in progress. Number 15, Baylor is on top of Louisiana Tech. That one's in the second quarter. Number 19, Arkansas, also leading 14-0. This one over Mississippi. It's in the second quarter. Here's a surprise. Stanford is shutting out Texas 14-0. That game being played in Austin. It's 14-0 in the second quarter. It's Texas A&M at LSU at Baton Rouge. Let's go back to Mike Patton.
Thank you very much, Larry. 14-7, our score here in the second quarter. Texas A&M facing a big play here. 3rd and 12 from the LSU 26-yard line. 6 defensive backs in for LSU on this play. Woodside, the man in motion. Murray against the 4-man rush. Chased it out of the pocket, and they got him this time. Carl Wilson, number 72, got the sack, and Pat, they did it with a 4-man rush.
Well, when you have confidence in your secondary, and LSU does, you're able to rush with just 3 or 4 guys and put pressure even in passing situations. I said earlier, Carl Wilson is a very underrated player. He's fast, and he's very strong. And you saw his pursuit right there. I think he has a good shot to make All-America this year.
Craig Stump, number 9, comes in. Now, remember, Stump is a backup quarterback. He will come on to punt, and in this situation, he usually moves up under center. He will have the option to run a play. And now he'll back out and punt the ball. Norman Jefferson is the deep man. And Stump just hangs it up there, trying to get it to bounce backwards for him. Hit at the goal line, it goes in. There is a flag down on the play. On 4th and 23, we'll check it out for you. 37-yard kick. And it's a delay. Now, if you're LSU, do you take it, make them kick it again?
Oh, no, you take that ball to 20. I would take the ball to the 20-yard line. If I give another shot to put it in the fountain corner, put it down inside the 5.
Doesn't look like they've made up their mind yet, although the officials are bringing the ball back to the line of scrimmage. The scoreboard indicates they have already declined it at 4th and 29. Oh, with the delay, they wouldn't have. I guess they would not have the option to declare.
Craig Stump gets another chance here with 5 more yards to work with. Well, a lot of times you'll take a penalty to move yourself away from the 38, 39-yard line out there closer to the 40, 45.
Interesting, though, the officials didn't stop the play on a delay call. Usually they blow it dead. They let the play go ahead. And now Craig Stump will come back and hit it inside the 50-yard line. And he got more of this one. It's at the 2, and it takes the big bounce into the end zone. So he had 2 shots at it, was unable to kill it inside the 20. Timeout with 7:32 to go. A&M still ahead. LSU with the football, excuse me.
Well, Mickey Guidry is in a quarterback right now, and they had decided before this game that it was not a reflection on Tom Hodson. They were going to put him in the first half. They want to give him some time. They think he deserves to play.
3 out of 5 last year, as you saw, and he gets the ball in a tough situation at his own 20-yard line. Play action fake, and Guidry throws. First down, complete to Davis. Davis across the 30, and they'll mark it right at the 30. Chet Brooks out in the vicinity. But Guidry comes out and guns the first one for a 10-yard gain.
1-for-1 is the way to start. One thing LSU needs to do, in the games they won last year, they were able to get the ball to Davis and McGee outside. If they can't get the ball downfield, then their running game is going to get stuffed. And right now, they've been able to get the ball there.
Got Derek Salisbury in the game. Remember the last time he was in there, he got the ball in the end around. You wonder why quarterbacks wear big wristbands. A lot of them have the plays on them anymore. 7:26 to go in the half. It is a 1st and 10. Mark got about 4 that time, stacked up at the 34-yard line. And the last man up off the pile is Brooks. Clock running with 7:08 to go, and the action has toned down a little bit now here in the second quarter after A&M took a 14-7 lead. We had a frantic period earlier in the ballgame, 3 turnovers in about 45 seconds. LSU was able to take advantage of the second.
Going to an audible here. They see something. They're expecting a blitz. Watch a short pass to the outside receiver.
Got Williams on a wing. Here comes the blitz, and he throws to Martin. Martin straight over the middle. He might go all the way. He needs one block, and he's got it. Sammy Martin. Touchdown. What a job by Sammy Martin as the conversion is good to tie it up. And Mickey Guidry changed the play at the line of scrimmage. Kid comes in, 2 passes, 76 yards, and a touchdown. That's not bad. He's saying, I don't want to be on the bench, Coach.
When Mickey Guidry came into this game, the coaches said he was like having a coach on the field. He read that blitz. The 2 outside receivers ran short patterns, and it's off to the races for Sammy. Oh, that's a beautiful play. And that's what you need to do against the blitzes. A&M gambled, quarterback audible at the line of scrimmage, and they burn him. There it is again. It's amazing how easy these tosses are when you can burn them. Right up the gut, he gets a block later than he needs, but this is speed. He's able to split those defenders, go into a nice little stride, and take it into the end zone.
And we're tied at 14 with 6:37 to go. And LSU putting on quite a performance there is Sam Martin. 165 pounds, you bet he's happy.
2 touchdowns as a receiver. He came in here, they said that he's really a threat out of the backfield, and he's shown it.
They want to get him the ball at every opportunity. He has 82 yards on 4 catches. And that was a great play by Guidry to change the play at the line of scrimmage. You saw that all-out blitz coming. And a good job by Martin to read the audible. Doesn't matter if the quarterback understands it. If the receivers don't hear it, it doesn't work. LSU will kick it away from the 35. Lewis to kick it away. Feature receivers Harris standing at the 5-yard line.
I think we'll be seeing Mr. Guidry in the next series too, don't you think? When they
He
get the ball
could
back?
be, yes. And it shows you how wrong we were. We thought this was going to be a defensive struggle, and it's 14-14 here in the first half. Pretty kick this time, and Harris driven back to the 3-yard line. 15, 20, 22, and no more. Jamie Bice on kickoff coverage, number 40, down to make the tackle after a 19-yard return. Take a look at this drive, and it didn't take Guidry long. He came in, hit a couple of passes. See you later.
Both of their touchdown drives have been under 1 minute.
That's a way to do it. And there's Sam Martin being congratulated on the sideline. Sylvester Morgan in at tight end for Texas A&M, number 89. He's the junior. Back up to Rod Bernstein. And Murray gives it straight up the middle. Not much for Roger Vick as Henry Thomas, the nose guard, stacks up the middle. And a little extracurricular pushing and shoving down the middle of the pile.
One of the keys to being a great nose guard is being able to get underneath the center's pads and force penetration. He stood him up, he took him on, and it just stuffs the whole play, and the rest of the linebackers and linemen can get on the play. That's a great job by the nose guard.
It's another Guidry from Louisiana, what they call Lightning, Ron Guidry for the Yankees. I have to give Martin the same nickname. Bernstein back in the tight end. And Tommy Clapp checks in, number 77, for LSU at a left defensive end spot. Murray back to throw, quick sideline, complete again. That's to Bernstein, driven out of bounds. Rehaj over there. Boy, Rehaj has had 4 or 5 games worth of tackles here in the first half. Thank you for the welcome here to Baton Rouge. Nice down here. And you see Go, G-E-A-U-X on the left. It's tough to get used to, especially if you have a Spanish background like I did in school. Of course, I couldn't tell you how to spell Go in Spanish either. 5:47 to go first half. Texas A&M has the ball at their own 34-yard line. We're tied at 14. 2 of the best clubs in the country in their opener of the 1986 season. Give it off to the tailback. Nothing doing. Roger Vick, the fullback. And he is stacked up. And we got Michael Brooks in on the tackle along with Guidry.
Now, Roger Vick was a preseason All-America by Playboy, and they are just stopping him at the line of scrimmage, and it's hurting A&M. Usually they get much better balance. You know, he was second-team All-Conference last year. Anthony Toney, who was his own teammate, was the first-team fullback.
It's not bad. Tells you something about the athletes that Jackie Sherrill recruits, as we talked about before. Time becoming a factor now in the first half with 5-10 and counting on 2nd and 9 for Murray. Vick is the only remaining back. Here comes an LSU blitz. Murray unloads. Harris couldn't quite hold it, and Jefferson was right on top of him. Harris ran the good pattern. Murray got the ball there, but Jefferson right on top of him.
Norman Jefferson is their best cover guy. He's cocky. He's confident he can make the plays.
Looks like Roland Barbay. Roland Barbay got a hand on that one.
Ray Hodge could have picked that ball off right through his hands. No wonder that ball was behind him. Again, Norman Jefferson will guard any receiver all over the field.
LSU will go with 6 defensive backs on 3rd and 9. 4-man rush. Murray dumps it short, complete to Bernstein. But Bernstein will not get the first down because of Nicky Hazard. A great tackle by the linebacker. He was a backup last year to Sean Burks, and that's him with his hands raised in the air. And Stump will have to go on to punt it away for Texas A&M. The Aggies had better be careful. If they let this crowd stay in it, they can be a factor. Stump, the backup quarterback, so you always have to be careful. Deep to receive is Norman Jefferson. Stump, a beautiful punt. Jefferson signaling fair catch back all the way up to his own 9-yard line. And Stump nailed it for 49 yards and no return. Timeout with 4 minutes, 18 seconds to go in the half. We're tied at 14. This is all Mickey Guidry did when he got the play. Came in through 2 passes, both of them complete, 76 yards and a touchdown. He doesn't get to come in and play the second series. Tom Hodson's back in there. I bet he's standing over there and wants to go over to Coach Arnsparger and say, hey, what do I need to do? You wanted that touchdown on the first play? But Hodson's back in there. Arnsparger not afraid to use either one of them, has a lot of confidence in it, but LSU will be starting from the 9-yard line right now. And they'll get out to the 21-yard line in the best run of the night for Harvey Williams. Chet Brooks had to drag him down in the secondary, and Williams can really explode.
Well, he's a strong back. I think you'll see on this isolation, number 11, Johnny Holland, All-America, great player, but he's going to get knocked back about 10 yards on this play. Sometimes it's tough when you come in with all the accolades and all the fame. People go after you, they're gunned up for you, and they are hitting him today.
With Garland, Jean-Baptiste got a nice block on him coming out of the backfield as the lead blocker for the freshman Harvey Williams. Here's Harvey. Of course, he and Holland went to the same high school in Hempstead, Texas. A lot of that on these two clubs. They recruit in the same area. A lot of feelings run deep. 4 minutes and counting. First half, first down, LSU at their own 20. Hodson changing the play. Williams and Jean-Baptiste in the backfield. Williams will get it off the right side. And picked up about 5 yards. Kelm and Holland on the tackle.
And we talked about Mickey Guidry, how great he came in 2 passes for a touchdown. A lot of people don't realize a lot of these backup quarterbacks can play. He had 2,000 yards passing his senior year in high school. He hasn't played for a couple years. That doesn't mean he can't throw the ball.
Tell you what, if you're on the team, if you're recruited by an LSU or a Texas A&M, you must have been an outstanding high school player to begin with. They don't take chicken salad these places.
Right.
3 minutes, 17 seconds to go. 2nd and 6. Hodson to throw. No pressure at all. Guns complete. Davis at the 35-yard line. Kelm on top of him, along with Johnny Holland. But it was a good toss by Tom Hodson. And now we've got them going after each other. Andelsek and Alex Morris wanted a piece of each other. And Alex Morris at 187 had better back away from Andelsek at 270.
Andelsek bench press is 440 pounds. I think he could probably throw him a few yards.
He could bench press 3 defensive backs, couldn't he?
But this is a rivalry. We came in here, we knew there was going to be some hot blood. There's no love lost.
Take a look and see if we can see what happened as Holland makes the stop.
So there's an All-America play. Tried to take the ball away. Right.
And Hazard didn't like it. He and Holland will go after it, and then Andelsek gets in there.
Good job by the refs controlling that one.
Clock down to 2:54. It's a first down for LSU. They have the ball at their own 34. Fake to Williams. Deep sideline, and it's dropped. McGee had his hands on it, couldn't hold it. Would have been a tough catch because he had to turn his body completely. Holly on the coverage, but Hodson got it there.
Well, this could have been a great catch. Just receivers dream about an opportunity to pull this type of ball down. Got it and stopped the momentum. He had it, and it just fell out.
Had it for a half a step and couldn't hold it. And there is a flag down on the play. They're talking it over with Holland, and he is looking to the bench to Jackie Sherrill.
You know, receivers actually work on things like that. They'll have the receiver coach throw balls over the wrong shoulder. They'll have you with your back to the thrower and then have the ball over one or the other shoulder, and you have to turn and catch the ball. So that's something people pull down more of those catches than you expect, but they really do work on it.
It's not like you've never seen it before.
The quarterbacks aren't going to put them on your numbers every play.
And it's a holding. Let's get out of Tim Brando on the sideline.
Michael John Roper, the outside linebacker for Texas A&M, clocked out of the game with a twisted ankle. They anticipate him coming in. They'll need him. He's a good cover man.
First down, 20 for LSU. Tigers trying to get on the board again, tied at 14. And they'll give it off to Alvin Lee, the freshman running back, who's into the ballgame for the first time. And Lee gets little, if anything, stacked up. Sadler was in there on the stop. Clock is running at 2:29. There's Roper on the sideline. What do they have? A great set of linebackers for Texas A&M.
Speed, strength, experience. 3 or 4 pros there.
2 minutes and 13 seconds and counting. LSU has 1 timeout left. Hodson had it tipped at the line of scrimmage, but it's still complete at the 29-yard line. The tackle made by Holly, but the ball got to Wendell Davis, who was not the intended receiver.
But sometimes you get lucky. There's no question. This ball is knocked up in the air. Could have just as easily been an interception. We get a lucky reception out of this. Well, that's a great play to jump up, knock the ball down. Defensive linemen work on those things. It doesn't happen very often, though.
That was Sammy O'Brien, the nose guard, who couldn't get in on the pass rush, but got the hand up there. Third down, 15 yards to go. Hodson on a roll. Here comes Holland, and Holland nailed him as he throws incomplete. And the flag goes down right on top of Holland and the quarterback Hodson. Holland just really laid the lumber to him, and it'll cost him 15 yards.
I don't know about this call.
I don't either.
I think it was a clean hit. I know he's frustrated because he's missed a couple plays tonight, but that was a clean hit.
The judgment call by the official as to whether he got there in time, but you could see it coming. Holland had a head of steam.
Okay. I'll tell you one thing. He absolutely hammers him.
Oh, no.
That is a clean play.
Sure it is. Not late at all. Maybe they said he got up around the chin, went head hunting a little bit, but he sure didn't hit him late.
Yeah, that right hand and left hand gets a little into the chin, but first down. I don't think so. I don't think that's a penalty. I mean, I believe you should protect the quarterbacks, but the linebackers got to get their shots every once in a while.
That's not spoken like a former quarterback, of course. 6 penalties against Texas A&M for 40 yards. Really hurt themselves in that department. And now LSU, with 1:25 to go, has an automatic first down at its own 44-yard line.
A&M should have been receiving a punt.
They'll put Martin out on the wing again, and Hodson likes to throw to him. Tried to throw to either he or Davis. It went between them. But if you had a Martin who's coming out of the backfield, you want to try to isolate him on somebody and get him the football. Hodson checking that wristband for the plays. Remember, he is a redshirt freshman. Pretty good numbers here in the first half. But the real numbers belong to Mickey Guidry, his backup, who was 2 for 2 for 76 yards and a touchdown. Roper back into the defensive lineup for Texas A&M. And 2nd and 10 with 1:20 to go. Texas A&M out of timeouts. LSU has 1 remaining. Hodson changing the play at the line of scrimmage. And he didn't change it in time. The 25-second clock expired. You got to make those audibles as quick as you can. And A&M, being a veteran defense, often will wait to change its defensive look.
Which is the right thing to do, particularly against a first-year quarterback. The longer you make the offense wait to make their adjustments, the better off you are. If you show your blitz too early like they did earlier, you're going to get hurt.
Harvey Williams, 22, and Derek Salisbury, 28, check back into the ball game for LSU on 2nd and now 15 from the Tiger 39. And Texas A&M showing blitz with Kelm and Holland right at the line of scrimmage. They back out of it, though. And Hodson lost his balance. Holland after him. And there's going to be a flag down. They're going to call a clip as the pass is incomplete.
That was not a clip. That was
I was watching it, too. It looked like he got him from the side.
That was a clean block.
That may have been a makeup call, you think?
Well, I like to
They say those don't exist, but...
I never did it as a referee, I'll tell you that much, in basketball.
Here's the call. And they called it right at the point of the clip. Holland, who did not blitz after Hodson lost his balance, came on the rush. And they're discussing the options right now.
We have pointed out that Johnny Holland missed, a tackle here, maybe got blocked on another. But one thing you have to realize, he is all over the field. A&M uses him for everything. Here is. He fakes the blitz, then he comes. He'll beat the offensive back here, and he's got a. That's a clean block. There's no question that was a good block.
If you get your head in front of the leg, it is not clipping. And he had a head. Garland Jean-Baptiste was the man who was making the block, the man who missed him the first time.
Clipping, offense, still second down.
Well, you hate to see the officials make a call like that when the replay shows clearly that it was not.
Well, it's particularly disappointing for Jean-Baptiste. He missed the block early, initially, came back, made a nice effort, got a clean block, and got called for a penalty.
Well, now it's 2nd and 30. This is a deep hole for LSU with 1:05 to go. And they'll go with a safe play. They'll go with the draw that gets virtually nothing as Holland makes the tackle.
And a penalty. And an altercation between a wide receiver and a defensive back, where they are heated right now.
Really going after each other. Check the call on this one.
James Flowers got nailed by a wide receiver late in the play, and he retaliated, but they called a penalty on the first hit, which is unusual.
It's good when they see it the first time instead of the retaliation. And now they're going to, I think, go over to talk to both coaches and say, we don't want any more of this. We're gonna make this a nice, clean game. We're going to remain in control of it.
Well, it's interesting in that, both teams are very aggressive, strong teams, but actually it's been very clean. A couple of these penalties were not penalties, and now the blood's really starting to rush and everyone's heated up, but they weren't good calls.
Stay with us at halftime because Larry and Bino will update you on all of tonight's games with scores and highlights and what a day it's been. And we'll look back 20 years to 1966 when Notre Dame and Michigan State met in one of college football's epic battles. And boy, was it. What a great game.
10-10.
And Notre Dame and Michigan put on quite a show today. 2nd and 30 it's going to be as they'll mark off this penalty against LSU. And LSU's got to be very careful now with 56 seconds to go. They could run out the clock in the first half.
Good ball, personal foul, offense, 3rd down.
Well, there's no question. I think you lay low here. You just go with a real simple play up the middle. Try to give your punter a little room. Whatever yardage you pick up here, just you tack that onto your punt. So it'd be nice if they picked up 5 or 10 here.
Well, really, it's now 3rd and 42, so they are going to have to kick it away one way or another, unless they can get a big play out of this one and run a lot of time off the clock. They'll give it to the outside. That's Martin. Martin out to about the 23-yard line. Brooks on the tackle. Remember, Texas A&M out of timeouts. They cannot stop the clock, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see them come after the punter. And now they mark it 25 seconds, and they don't have to punt the ball. They can just let the clock run out. The officials, that 25-second clock starts after the ball is marked ready for play. They marked it ready for play with 22 seconds left, so the 25-second clock will expire, and LSU will not have to have the dangerous situation of punting deep from their own territory. And the LSU fans will stand on their feet and give their club an ovation as they leave the field, tied 14-14 with Texas A&M. Pat, quite a first half.
Great defense on both sides, more offense than we expected.
Now let's go back to the studio and Larry Burnett and Bino for the update on college football.
All right, Mike, good game going on there in Baton Rouge. Bino and I are here. We'll update the top 20 scoreboard for you, and we've got a special feature on that 1966 game between Michigan State and Notre Dame. It ended in a 10-10 tie, and in all the elements, it'll be one of the great games in college football. We'll have that coming up, and we'll do it as our halftime show continues here on ESPN. that coming up, and we'll do it as our halftime show continues here on ESPN. We've got a 14-14 game in Baton Rouge. Time now to check out the top 20 scoreboard, and we'll start out with number 2 Miami. They're in a game tonight against Texas Tech at the Orange Bowl in Miami. It is at the half now. Vinny Testaverde has thrown 3 touchdown passes. Miami leads 28-3. In action this afternoon, it was number 3 Michigan over Notre Dame, just barely. John Carney for Notre Dame missed a field goal with 15 seconds left. It would have won the game, but the Irish lose it by 1. Alabama a winner today. They are now 3-0. They beat Southern Mississippi by the score of 31-17. Mike Shula, a couple of TD passes in that one. And the game that you see right there, Mississippi State and Tennessee, it was an upset. Mississippi State wins it by 4. They upset Syracuse last week. They are on a roll. In other action, New Mexico almost did it to BYU, but Steve Lindsley tossed 3 TD passes for BYU. They win it by a single point. Look at this game. Washington over Ohio State 40-7. It's the first time since 1894 that Ohio State has lost its first 2 games in a season. In action tonight, it is Louisiana Tech trailing Baylor by the score of 14-0. It is in the second quarter. Other action as well. Here's a game that's just about set to get started. It'll be in Arizona at Tempe. Michigan State going against Arizona State. Duke and Georgia this afternoon. The Bulldogs win at 31-7. Arkansas is leading Mississippi 21-0. That game is at halftime. And Colorado State and Arizona are a game, late game, just about ready to get underway in Arizona. Some interesting games in that top 20 today.
Yes, and Miami looks quite impressive. Vinny Testaverde, 3 touchdown passes, and he also ran for a touchdown. He definitely is going to be awful tough to beat for the Heisman Trophy. He's playing well. He's a tough kid. He has great feet. He's able to move. And, again, Miami looks very impressive.
Looking forward to seeing them play Oklahoma in 2 weeks. That should be a good one. Also looking forward to coming up in just a couple of minutes, our feature on the 1966 Notre Dame-Michigan State game. It's been called the game of the century by some people, and we'll fill you in on it when we come back on our halftime report.
Tonight's halftime report is being brought to you by Schick. When the beard is back, you gotta get Schick.
Next Saturday, Michigan State will host Notre Dame in East Lansing, Michigan. 20 years ago, those 2 teams met in the same stadium. They were the top 2 teams in the country, and the national championship was at stake. And the game was equal to its buildup back in 1966.
It was a game that was just bitter. We really didn't have any use for Michigan State, and they didn't have any use for us. And it was a game in its purest form, I think.
You know, you were just at a point where you just wanted to kill somebody. I mean, you know, if we had run across Notre Dame in the parking lot, we'd probably fought them. That's how crazy we were.
It was November 19th, 1966. Spartan Stadium, East Lansing, Michigan. Notre Dame was 8-0 under Ara Parseghian. Michigan State was the defending national champion. The Spartans were undefeated in 9 games with Duffy Doherty roaming the sidelines. The nation's top 2 teams battling in what many people still believe was the greatest college football game of this century. Tickets were by no means easy to come by, but one man from Ohio used his head. He wrote a letter to the ticket manager here at Michigan State, and he said if President Johnson wanted to be at that game, you'd find him a seat, wouldn't you? Well, of course they would. He said, the president can't make it. I'll take his ticket. And for the price of a $5 ticket, that man had a seat right on the 48-yard line. The national media jumped on the game. Notre Dame's Terry Hanratty and Jim Seymour made the cover of Time. And on game day, the huge press box at Spartan Stadium was packed on every level. Fred Stabley was Michigan State's sports information director back then.
We had a 4th row of seats. We have 3 rows now, which hold over 220 people. But we put a 4th row in of stools that we borrowed from classroom buildings and laboratories, and 80 of them sat back there on these high stools, and then others stood. Besides that, there were well over 300 people just in this deck alone. We had some newspaper people who checked in late, and we had them seated in the stands. Not too many of those, but there were a few that we just couldn't get in at all.
There were about 600 news media there all week long, and they'd asked me to attend 2 different press conferences a day, and one newsman asked me if our players were up for the game. I said, well, they're up so high I'm going to have to shake the trees to get them down.
It was that kind of game. Never had the nation's top 2 teams battled so late in the regular season with the national championship on the line. It was called the Pole Bowl, and it featured an impressive cast of characters. There was Lynch at linebacker for the Irish, number 61. Big Bubba on the line for the Spartans at 6'8", 290 pounds. Bob Blyer was in the Notre Dame backfield. You know him better now as Rocky. Clint Jones, number 26, carrying the load for Michigan State. Throw in Alan Page and Kevin Hardy for Notre Dame, and add Gene Washington and George Webster for MSU. And don't forget, Terry Hanratty, Notre Dame's top quarterback, was knocked out of this game in the first quarter with a separated shoulder. The day was gray, overcast, temperatures in the low 30s, but the Spartans heated things up in the first quarter. Jones led the way, and Reggie Cavender found the north end zone from the 4. Michigan State added a Dick Kenny field goal and went ahead 10-zip. With Hanratty on the sideline, the Irish called on Coley O'Brien, a scrambler who gave the Spartans trouble. O'Brien was a diabetic, and he ran out of steam late in the game, but he found Bob Gladio here in the second quarter for Notre Dame's only touchdown of the game. That cut State's lead to 10-7 at halftime, and the game was living up to its billing.
Well, the stadium was a boiling cauldron. After every single play, there was a roar like a touchdown had just been scored. A guy might lose 5 yards, but somebody's roaring. If we lost it, it was Notre Dame that was roaring. I never saw a game, and some of the writers had this in their stories the following day, that they never witnessed a game in which there was such continuous uproar on every single play as there was at this. There was that kind of excitement and tensions. All of them, every little play was that important, that significant.
The score remained 10-7 through the third. Then Joe Azzaro booted the game into a tie with this 28-yard field goal on the first play of the fourth. Azzaro later missed a potential game-winning field goal. Defense took command of the contest, and late in the game, Michigan State punted the ball. The Irish had it 1st and 10 on their own 30 with less than a minute and a half to play. 10-10 game.
People don't realize that the ball was kicked to us by Michigan State. They gave it to us in the last minute and 21 seconds, hoping for us to make the error that would give them field position and so forth.
But with O'Brien fading and several stars injured on the bench, Parsegian chose to run the ball and the clock, much to the displeasure of the fans and the opposition.
I said, hey, man, we tired. Why are you sitting on the ball? And again, apologies, but we talked about their parents. We talked about Notre Dame like a dog to try to get them angry, to try, at least try and go for it. They wouldn't do it.
After 6 straight running plays, it was over. The top 2 teams in the country had played to a 10-10 tie.
And I remember the terrible disappointment I felt at the end of the game. There was no feeling of exultation, no feeling that we'd accomplished anything. And I made the mistake of saying at the end of the game that a tie is like kissing your sister. And I think I coined that phrase, and I offended my very wonderful sister. And she said, what's wrong with kissing your sister? And I had to agree with her.
The reviews came in quickly. Parsegian was right at the center of the controversy. Why had he played not to lose instead of going for the win? After all, the Notre Dame Victory March says,
I look back on it now, and I was amazed by the post-game criticism. I wouldn't change anything that I did then today, because I felt that we did the right thing then, and no one knows any better than the coaches on the sideline. Much better than people in the stands or members of the media.
And as I look back in retrospect now, that was the greatest move that Parsegian made. Even though he came out of the game as the GOAT, that was the greatest move that he could have made, because he knew the press was going to take him to number 1.
And that's what happened. Michigan State's season was done, but the Irish trounced USC the next week and won the national title. And while big games and championships sometimes drift out of focus over time, memories of the 10-10 tie remain sharp and crisp 20 years later.
The Michigan State-Notre Dame game of 1966 has not faded into the background over 20 years. And I think a lot of things go into that, why that has happened. Maybe one of the reasons why is because we were 10-10 at the end of the game.
10-10 tie. It's one of those games where if you saw it, you remember where you were when you saw it. It's like a memorable event. You were at that game.
I was at that game, but it was the sidebars that also made it interesting. A priest in Connecticut changed the time for confession so the Notre Dame fans could see him. I have the feeling Notre Dame has a lot of Irish fans. I've learned that through the years. Also, it was the first game under the TV plan that was ever changed. They used to make the entire schedule in March. Regional game, Kentucky and Tennessee, Michigan State, Notre Dame. Second game, USC, UCLA, and California, Stanford. What they did, instead of watching Tennessee, Kentucky, they got Michigan State, Notre Dame live. But the people in the Southeast still saw Tennessee, Kentucky, but they locked themselves in the house, don't call me, and they saw the Notre Dame game on tape, but they did not know the score, and it was as if it were a live game. It was a memorable afternoon for those involved. I don't think it was even the greatest game of the decade. The game of the decade was voted by the sports writers. It was Texas 15, Arkansas 14 in 1969.
All right, 10-10 was that game. 14-14 is our game here on ESPN. We'll come back and show you one of the big plays from the first half of that game at LSU. We'll do that when our halftime report begins. Texas A&M at LSU, it's all tied at 14 in Baton Rouge. Let's show you why it is tied at 14 at halftime at Tiger Stadium. Second quarter, the Aggies were leading 14-7. Tigers had backup quarterback Mickey Guidry in. He looked pretty good. He hit Sammy Martin over the middle, and it was so long, Sammy. He goes 66 yards for his second touchdown of the night. 14-14 was the score. That is our score at halftime of that game, and we'll be back here at our halftime report after this timeout. Just about set now to go back to Baton Rouge for that game with Texas A&M and LSU. They're tied 14-14. I'll be back throughout the second half with updates on games still in progress. And don't forget, Vino and I will be back on the Hartford College Football Report following the game with post-game highlights and scores. We'll bring you up to date on everything that's been going on. Let's now go to Mike Patrick and the crew at Tiger Stadium.
Our score at halftime, Texas A&M and LSU locked up in a 14-14 tie at Tiger Stadium. Tim Brando with you. We have an outstanding game coming up next week. That game, Penn State and Boston College, the Nittany Lions, are going after another national championship possibility. How do they get it done? They get it done this way. Joe Paterno, an outstanding coach, and an outstanding team that relies heavily on the running game. And that running game is utilized inside as well as outside. Inside and outside is DJ Dozier, truly another Heisman Trophy candidate, one that we'll have to watch in that game at Foxborough. But he's not the only thing in the Penn State arsenal. They also have Tim Manoa. He can get it done inside and can show surprising speed as well. So that will be the game next week. Penn State taking on Boston College, and BC is coming off a big win as well. They came up with a 21-15 get-together against California. That ball game was played earlier today, and in that game, they lost their starting quarterback. But Mark Camphouse came in, led them on a 52-yard drive to beat Cal. The final in that one was 21-15. So it's BC and Penn State next week. But we still have this week. And this week means the second half of LSU and A&M. Mike Patrick and Pat McAnally, let's take a look at the statistical data in this one. It's as close as the game, isn't it?
And Tim, you're right. If we have a second half as good as the first half, we're going to have another enjoyable hour and a half here in Baton Rouge. And the stats almost even, which is surprising, Pat, in the fact that LSU was not expected to be able to move the ball as well as Texas A&M. But in fact, they got 2 more total yards in the first half.
Well, the shocking statistic there is, look, 143 yards passing for A&M, only 63 yards on the ground. They've been able to hold Roger Vick to 3.3 yards a carry. Last year, as a backup, he averaged 4.5. And if that continues, it's going to put more and more pressure on Kevin Murray. Now, he does have the receivers to go downfield, but it's going to hurt A&M's ball control.
There's Guidry on the sideline, a young man who came in for one series, engineered a touchdown drive, had 2 out of 2 for 76 yards and a touchdown. Has been back in the ball game since.
I guarantee you he's leading the country as far as quarterback ratings. He's got to have an astronomical rating.
38 yards of pass. Here's what LSU did in their first possession. Not much. 3 yards lost. They had to punt. The second time they got the ball, they fumbled it away. And then they went on a 48-yard drive, got their first touchdown. Then a punt after an 8-play drive, and then their most impressive drive of the entire first half. 80 yards for the touchdown. It came on only 3 plays. And then they got backed up in their own territory late in the first half.
They had 2 nice touchdowns. The drives consisted of less than 1 minute of playing time. They need big plays. They need them on defense. They need them in offense if they're going to beat A&M. And they got it done in the first half.
Bill Arnsparger on the sideline. Texas A&M will kick it away. We understand that Derek Salisbury, the backup wide receiver, the freshman from Thibodeau, was tossed out of the ball game for throwing a flagrant elbow late in the first half, so he will not be back in there. And here is the Texas A&M kickoff coverage team as Sam Martin and Eddie Fuller go deep to receive. Martin, 23. They wanted to keep him away from that kickoff return responsibility because at 165 pounds, he gets beaten up so much just running from scrimmage.
I'm still predicting LSU will break one past the 50-yard line on a kickoff. I stuck my neck out earlier with
It's been, in 3 years, this 12-man kickoff team has not let anything go more than 29 yards. They'll start from the 4. Got some room to run. Cuts back at the 20 to the 25 to the 26-yard line goes Sammy Martin. And LSU will set up shop there. A 22-yard, 23-yard make it kickoff return for Martin. And that's an excellent return against these guys. Hodson comes out to start the second half for LSU. 7 out of 12 in the first half, 70 yards, 1 touchdown. His backup, Mickey Gidry, got the other touchdown. Got to be a comfortable feeling for Bill Arnsparger to have 2 quarterbacks that he has confidence in. Hodson, the redshirt freshman out of Matthews, Louisiana. Ball at the 26. Jean-Baptiste, the up back, and Martin is the tailback out of the I. Both wide receivers to the far side, and it's Martin picking his way through to about the 33-yard line. James Flowers from the left corner came up to make the stop.
It had to be gratifying for Coach Bill Arnsparger because he gambled it. You put a quarterback, they had decided before the game to put a quarterback in a series, Gidry in the second quarter at some point. It's kind of a strange game plan when you think about it, but it sure worked.
Gentleman has probably seen his share and more of LSU football. Got to be loving it tonight. 14-14, 2nd and 4 for the Tigers from their own 33. Once again out of the I. And Williams is now the I back. And he'll get it behind Jean-Baptiste. First down, LSU. They hit the ground, fumble the football, and Texas A&M has recovered. And the recovery made by strong safety Alex Morris. And there is the sad look on Harvey Williams as he coughed it up.
I know it's got to be disappointing for Harvey Williams. He comes in here, first game with LSU against the A&M team he thought he might play for. It's a nice blocking job. They opened the hole for him. Just gets stripped of the ball. There's a lot of big, strong arms in there.
Clearly a fumble, and A&M will set up shop at the LSU 41. And they'll give it to Vick, the fullback, who has not had much success. He is stopped by Hazard and Barbe. Here's what Texas A&M was able to do in the first half when they had the football. The first time they got their hands on it, they went 75 yards for a touchdown in 10 plays. The next 2 series were stopped by intercepted passes, and then once again, they went 78 yards, a long touchdown drive. The only 2 times they were really stopped on their own was when they had to punt the ball the last 2 possessions of the first half. 2nd and 7 right here. And incomplete as it was off the fingertips of Keith Woodside. Murray may have had a little bit too much mustard on that. Ron Sancho dropped back off his left end outside linebacker spot in coverage.
Number 29, Rod Bernstein. When you can start catching passes early in the game, you're going to get some attention. They're definitely holding him. Not only double teaming him, they're grabbing his shirt right in front of an official. I can't believe the official didn't see it. No call. But it's tough sometimes. He gets blocked out of making some of those calls. But Rod Bernstein is going to be getting a lot of attention this afternoon. Guarantee that.
Brooks is really their best cover man, and I think he has spent most of his night on Bernstein. 3rd down, 8 yards to go. Murray just standing comfortably in the pocket. Complete pass, first down at the 29. They hit Shea Walker on a beautiful throw Pearson with great defense, but Walker had inside position, and Murray just lined it in there.
A lot of times people don't realize that quarterbacks, even though they appear to have a lot of time to throw a ball, once they throw it, they make that completion, they get hit all the time. They have so many bruises after games no one ever noticed when from the stands.
Well, what a toss, though. And his feet were planted. He didn't move them once. He just went back and set up. Ball at the 30. This is Vick trying to get outside. Got some room to run for the first time. He'll pick up about 7 yards. Chris Carrier rode him to the ground, the weak safety. Vick is a quality player, and we have another A&M player down at the sideline at the 25-yard line, and they'll have to attend to him.
Murray's been able to get the ball to Walker and Bernstein. What they have been, well, I think they had one pass to Rod Harris, and he's really the game breaker as a receiver.
We don't want to try to identify him until we're sure who it is. Young man shaking up the far sideline after Vick picked up 6 or 7 yards on that one. Really the first time he's had any running room, Pat.
Well, it's frustrating as a running back. You certainly want to have the holes. And in the A&M offense, they don't turn to the run as in desperation. They expect to set up their passing with the running. So I know he's had a frustrating day in the backfield.
And it is Shea Walker, number 85, and he's going to be all right. Gets up and walks off under his own power.
Well, Walker, this happens a lot to wide receivers. You'll have a running back run right over you when you try to throw a block. And that's why a lot of receivers tend to shadow block as opposed to really get into people. It is dangerous out there.
Walker goes to the sidelines. He's an excellent possession type receiver. Just finds a way to get open. 47 yards on 4 catches. It's 2nd and 4 right now. Vick is the remaining running back, and he'll have the football and very close to a first down. Once again, Carrier and Hazard on the tackle. Hazard's done a good job tonight. There's Walker at the sideline, and he got it in the ribs or in the sternum. Makes it a little difficult to inhale for about 5 minutes. If you're lucky, it only lasts 5 minutes.
You got a knee right in the side if you knock the wind out of him. Someone like Nicky Hazard isn't going to get a lot of publicity with Toby Caston and Michael Brooks as his sidekicks in the linebacking corps, but he has made some nice plays tonight.
Made a lot of tackles. 3rd down, a yard to go. Texas A&M has reached the LSU 20. Vick again. Second effort probably got him the first down. Barbay and Thomas made the stop, and Hazard again was in on the pile. Really, they have done a good job in controlling the dangerous Michael Brooks, the All-American linebacker. He has not been able to make the big play that he is so known for.
Well, he is. He's all over the field. That's one thing.
Quickly down to the sideline, and Tim Brando. Tim?
Mike, Shea Walker has a little bit of a problem with his ribs. They think, though, it's just a bad problem with his breath being lost, but they're back.
Murray complete to Bernstein inside the 10, driven out of bounds at the 8-yard line by Toby Caston. But Bernstein, who was shut down early, is now starting to hurt LSU.
They like to run him underneath on these little delay patterns. Again, he's just too fast for a linebacker to take man-to-man. And in these zones, when he catches the ball, the key to the A&M offense is to catch these short passes and turn them up and turn them into 10, 15-yard gains, which is what they've been able to do.
He's caught 5 passes tonight. This is reminiscent of his Cotton Bowl performance a year ago when he caught 6 passes in that ball game after only 9 in their entire regular season. 1st and goal, they'll give it to Vick. Tries to cut outside, and there is Michael Brooks. Played off the block, and whammo.
Right when you mention him, as not having that big game, he makes a play. Well, Michael Brooks makes a lot of plays in the backfield. He's so fast and explosive. He almost got that handoff, as a matter of fact, and he took the guy right down, put him right on his back.
Bill Arnsparger said he could be the best he has ever been around. Made All-State as a high school sophomore. Said it was like swatting flies after playing with all the guys in his tough Ruston, Louisiana neighborhood. First time Murray has really had all that much pressure, was chased out of the pocket by Nicky Hazard again and 4 or 5 of his teammates, and they forced him out of bounds that time.
Well, talking about Rod Bernstein, only had 9 catches, and he goes into the Cotton Bowl, and he picks off 6. He has 6 catches that game. Coach has said going into the season, it gives you such a lift as an athlete. Comes into this year, he had a big game. Not only is he more confident, but the quarterback, Kevin Murray, is going to go to him more. The coaches are going to call his number. I think he's in for a big year.
Murray looks to the sideline to Jackie Sherrill and the offensive coaches on 3rd and goal from the 9. They'll send 2 wide receivers to the near side. Thompson, number 80, and Harris, 17. Murray, plenty of time, throws over the middle, complete to Woodside, and Woodside will not get by the 6-yard line. And again, it's a great job by Nicky Hazard, who wrapped him up, and Steve Rehage came over to get him some help. And they'll have to go with a field goal with Scott Slater.
If LSU's linebackers can keep making these one-on-one tackles and bringing the guys right down as soon as they catch the ball, they're going to stop A&M's passing game.
Slater's only tried 2 field goals in his collegiate career. Missed during the regular season, hit one in the Cotton Bowl. 22-yard attempt, and it's good. And Texas A&M, on the strength of a 22-yard field goal, here in the third quarter, has taken a 17-14 lead over LSU.
Texas A&M at LSU is being brought to you by Jeep. There's a feeling you can get only in a Jeep. And by UPS. Whether it's for overnight letters or packages, UPS runs the tightest ship in the shipping business.
We have 10 minutes and 28 seconds to go in the third quarter from Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and Texas A&M has taken a 17-14 lead on a 22-yard field goal. And Scott Slater, the man who kicked the field goal, will now kick it away to Alvin Lee and Eddie Fuller, 2 freshman speedsters for LSU, and they will be facing that 12th-man kickoff coverage team. The Aggies answer to the Kamikazes, who just go full bore as fast as they can, as long as they can. They only take 10 of them on the travel squad. So if somebody gets hurt, someone from the regular roster has to step in. Slater gets all of this one. Taken a yard deep by Lee. Got a chance. Lee to the 31, maybe the 32-yard line. A 32-yard kickoff return. That is the longest in more than 3 years against this kickoff coverage team.
Well, I shouldn't have said the 50-yard line. I should have just said they break the record.
Can you imagine that, though? This is the 4th year, and they've gotten to 32 yards as the longest return. Tom Hodson will come back out along with Williams and Jones, the running backs behind him. Now becoming a really beautiful night in Louisiana. The temperature cooling off. Very comfortable indeed. Williams is the tailback. He fumbled on the last series and would like to atone for it. And it looks like Hodson changed the play. They give it to Williams. He runs smack into Larry Kelm and shows you his strength. He pulled him ahead a couple of yards.
One disadvantage in having a freshman quarterback was when they went into this game, LSU determined that when Tom Hudson came up to the line of scrimmage, if he had a play, he could audible. If it was a run, he could go to run. If it was a pass, he'd go to the pass. But he couldn't. Obviously, he had a run call there, and he couldn't audible to a pass.
Couldn't change it. Do you like going back to Williams on the first play after he had fumbled the series before?
He's the type of player you've got to get the ball in his hands. I don't think it worried him much.
Tony Moss is in as one of the wide receivers, and here's the play action by Hodson. Throws near sideline, complete. Good pass to Wendell Davis, and he's brought down by Brooks. Hodson has done very well on that short, controlled kind of passing game.
Well, we said going in, if he could get the ball to Wendell Davis and Raji McGee and get the ball to the receivers, it's going to open up everything else. And he has delivered the ball really well. And those are hard passes. 15 yards, it's got to be a bullet.
Thrown well to Davis, but I don't believe McGee has touched the ball all night. Hodson now 8 out of 13. Garland Jean-Baptiste back in at the fullback spot. Harvey Williams remains the tailback, and he'll get the ball. Goes right side. They'll pick up about 4 following Eric Andelsek, who pulled out there and threw him a good block. Now, Williams may be a fixture in this backfield for the next 4 years. 7 carries, 40 yards.
So fast, so big, so confident. He's only a freshman, but he's playing like a big-time player already. I'd like to see him get in the open field just once tonight.
Here was a guy who everybody expected to go to Texas A&M, and he ends up at LSU. And there have been stories like that over the past 40 years. Second down, about 5. Hodson with all day in the pocket, throws in a great zone, and the pass is complete to Wendell Davis, and Hodson just rifled it in there. Brooks had great coverage, but he couldn't make the stop. They split the zone on the sideline.
It's a nice toss, but it's a great catch. Actually, it's been knocked out of bounds. He was out of bounds, came back in play to make this catch. Right, took it away from the defender.
That's a great grab. Took it away from Chet Brooks, number 27.
I don't think I wouldn't have felt too confident throwing that ball right into that coverage.
1st and 10, LSU in Aggie territory at the 38. Fake to Jean-Baptiste. Hodson again over the middle, complete. It's Williams, and Williams is leveled at the 8-yard line. No fumble, the ball is down. Holland just unloaded on Harvey Williams. What a shot. But it's a 1st down, LSU. And Williams showed you some pretty good hands coming out of the backfield. And
this is a beautiful pass. He lays it right in. Williams with a nice catch, and he just gets leveled by Holland on this play. Oh, that just shows his speed, though. He came all the way from the opposite side as a linebacker and made that hit.
A tremendous pursuit. It's 1st and goal, LSU. Wendell Lee. Lee can't get past the 6-yard line. Holland again, along with Larry Kelm, and now they're starting to be a little bit more physical in it. See if the last play was a fumble, Pat.
Well, this is the element that Harvey Williams will add to you as a receiver and a runner. He's hit right now. And I don't think the ball's loose. No, definitely. Zeppel hit the ground. That was an excellent call. That was an excellent call. The ground does not cause a fumble on any level of football.
Ronnie Halliburton is checked in as the 2nd tight end with Brian Kinchin. It is 2nd down and goal from the 6.
Look for some play action here.
McGee goes in motion. There it is. And the pass complete. Inside the 5 to about the 4 to Alvin Lee. Jeff Holly right on top of him. That's good defense in the secondary for A&M. Holly stayed behind him, but he wouldn't give him much room.
What you want is your running back after this play fake. You got to get into the end zone. When you run a flat route like this, you're going to get hit, and you're not going to be able to turn the ball upfield. So you got to coach your running backs to get as close to the end zone into that goal line as you can.
Bill Arnsparger looking on. If this play doesn't work, you may have to make the decision. Do you go for the field goal to tie it, or do you gamble? 6:52 and counting, 3rd quarter. Texas A&M leads by 3, but LSU is threatening. Wide receivers to the top of your screen. Hodson throws, and he threw that one out of bounds. Flag is down in the end zone, and it will be interference. The pass was caught well out of the end zone. I think Hodson just threw that one away to Wendell Davis.
Tackled. He would have been open. He was just absolutely tackled before the ball was thrown.
Here's the call. And that's going to be a 1st down for LSU.
Okay.
The officials are sorted out down here.
That's the kind of penalty you hate to see. They really had all the receivers blanketed, and he just absolutely tackled them. The ball was actually being thrown to another receiver.
They've done a good job on pass protection. Hodson here in the 2nd half has just been able to stand in the pocket.
Pass interference by the defense. Automatic 1st down at the 2.
1st and goal. Halliburton comes back in as the 2nd tight end, and they'll have 4 shots to stuff it in there.
That's a 1-inch penalty, but it's the biggest penalty of the game thus far.
Lee 26 and Garland Jean-Baptiste 44, the running backs. Send McGee in motion. Lee with a fake, toss, knocked down, almost intercepted by Chet Brooks. Brooks was out there, a little surprised at the call maybe on 1st and goal from the 2.
I think they came in expecting to go with some play action early, which is the right play. This is just an outstanding defensive play. It's a little half roll, the toughest pass to guard and defense. And a little flat pattern, he just dove and knocked the ball down just in the nick of time. It's so difficult to guard those backs out of the backfield.
Trying to get it to Kinchin that time. Harvey Williams will check in on 2nd and goal. He'll be the tailback in the eye behind Jean-Baptiste. 2 tight ends and McGee in motion. Williams diving. Didn't get there.
Serious hang time on that dive, though.
Boy, it was. Mark him down inside the 1-yard line.
A&M's defensive line just absolutely stops this play, and he has nowhere to go but up and over the top, and then the backers just nail him, push him back.
He's like Dwight Stones.
We're going to pretend we're linebackers here. He's going to jump up, try to go over the top, but he is met by everybody. And just draw Alex Morris, big hitter.
3rd down, goal. They'll try the dive again. 2nd effort, touchdown.
Was that an athletic move?
Ron Lewis for the point after. It's good. And Harvey Williams with the first touchdown of what should be a brilliant college career, and he did it on second effort.
Well, they had stopped him on this. He jumps so high when he gets up off the ground, but he had really nowhere to go. They stopped him, but he somehow managed to land on his feet and fall forward again.
That was Alex Morris again, number 30. He was in on the original hit, but they couldn't stop him the second time.
You got to watch this play again. Watch how high he gets. They meet him. 5 guys hit him. He's down, and he somehow lands on his feet and gets in. That's just
and who did they get away from? Johnny Holland was the last man who had a hand on him. There's Hartsbarger. And it's a 21-17 LSU lead with 5:58 to go in the third quarter. Don't go away. Harvey Williams, the man of the hour. His touchdown has put Texas A&M down to LSU 21-17. Well, but that feels good. Can we get one of those towels up here? Still feels like it's about 80 degrees. Matt DeFrank will kick it away for LSU. Rod Harris standing at the 3-yard line, and 7th-ranked Texas A&M finds itself down by 4 points on the road. DeFrank, the junior sidewinder. Good kick. Drives Harris to the goal line. They break up the blitz. What a play to the 16-yard line. Scott Bromley was down there on kick coverage. Let's go down to Tim Brando on the sidelines. He has Harvey Williams Sr. with him.
You bet, Mike. A couple of happy Harveys. I guess he's got some pretty good hands.
Oh, mercy. I'm just so excited. I don't know. I can't describe it in words, but it's just what I expected. I think the nation is ready to see another great running back there.
Here's a towel. Wipe off.
Okay.
We've got towels down here, Mike. Back up to you.
Thank you, Tim. And Mr. Williams, you deserve to be happy about your son. He's played a great ball game in his first appearance. 1st and 10, Texas A&M. And they'll complete the pass to Bernstein out to about the 21-yard line. Rehaj right on top of him. This scoring drive is the longest, at least in terms of time, that LSU has had in this ball game. 4 minutes, 24 seconds. Took 69 yards, 10 plays, and Harvey Williams got it on his second try, a 1-yard touchdown plunge. That's something he's going to remember the rest of his life. 5:27 and counting, third quarter. Murray going back to work, 18 out of 24, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions so far. Vick on the toss, and they have done a great job on Roger Vick tonight. Number 97, Tommy Clapham, Toby Caston, 69, along with Brooks. We're out there to make this stop. And the LSU crowd is really pumped up. Bill Arnsparger, in his 2 years here, is 17-5-2. That's not a bad start. 4:47, third quarter. And the crowd on 3rd and 5 wants that LSU defense to stop them. And Kevin Murray having some trouble calling the signal, and he calls timeout. Murray just couldn't hear, and he'll go over to talk to Jackie Sherrill with 4.5 minutes to go, third quarter. Texas A&M down to LSU by 4.
Arkansas offensive lineman Chris Beckett talks about the importance of education.
Well, I sincerely feel that keeping my priorities of academics, athletics, and the social life in a clear, proper perspective and focusing in on those priorities in exactly that order has been instrumental in completing my undergraduate studies in 3 years. And now I look forward to the big challenge of continuing to combine a football career with the pursuit of a law degree in my final 2 years of college eligibility. Look forward to the big challenge of continuing to combine a football career with the pursuit of a law degree in my final 2 years of college eligibility.
Texas A&M facing 3rd and 5 from its own 22-yard line. Got a full house backfield, then they'll send Harris in motion. Murray on the scramble, and he got the first down. They mark it at the 27. And now close to the 28, so he got it by a yard. Jefferson covered him. Good hustle by Kevin Murray.
He actually did not make this first down. Well, he played Major League Baseball as a rookie, and this is a nice, clean slide.
Oh.
But actually, that ball was mismarked. He did not make that first down. He actually went down about the 26.
But they marked it at the 28, and it is a first down. Murray has just been exceptional tonight. Here he stumbles on the option, tosses it back to Vick. Vick with room to run, and then tripped up by Carrier as he got to the 33-yard line.
And here's a human mountain. Watch the quickness. He's going to cut. Marshall Land just cuts down that backer, Toby Caston. Excellent leg whip with that. Those are some tree stumps going at you when those legs whip you.
347 pounds going for your ankles.
He lost 50 pounds to get there.
That's right. He was up to 392. They'll toss it to Woodside, who has not been a factor lately. Woodside breaks this one. Couldn't keep his balance. He might have gone all the way as he got to the 50-yard line. Woodside almost broke it.
They're able to use Marshall Land to get this corner again. And when Keith Woodside gets some running room, he is dangerous. In fact, right now, he just loses his balance. Marshall Land again. Big man's making his presence known. That's an excellent block. He sealed the whole corner. When he gets a corner, he leaves you a lot of yardage, a lot of room to run around.
It's a corner. Woodside will go to the sideline after 8 carries for 55 yards. And I think the ankle bothered him earlier. That's why he hasn't been back in there. But it's a 1st and 10. Murray back to work. Complete again. This time the short toss. The tackle made by Sancho. That's Washington into the ball game. And they have just announced that the attendance tonight is the 2nd largest crowd in the history of Tiger Stadium. 79,713. Capacity here is 77,542, so they used a shoehorn to pack them in here. Wonder what they did in 1983 against Washington. They got 82,390 in here. Murray again, this time to Bernstein, the tight end. Inside the 40 to about the 39-yard line, and Bernstein got up and complained about the hit by Lawrence as he was going down. Pearson was the initial tackler.
Again, A&M's going to throw these short little tosses. But if LSU can make those tackles, man-to-man, they're going to do fine.
There are the officers of the day from the Cadet Corps of Texas A&M. Trying to root their ball club on. They find themselves down by 4 points with 2:17 to go, 3rd quarter. 1st and 10, Aggies at the LSU 38. Roger Vick, no dice. Got absolutely nothing against Darrell Phillips. The backup nose guard who just stuffed it. Bernstein, 7 catches, 69 yards tonight.
He might pass his entire season's total last year in this
right.
game.
Only had 9 all last year. Roger Vick now has gone over the 51-yard mark, or over the 50-yard mark, or 51. But it's taken him 18 carries to do it. 2nd down and 10. Murray back to throw. And it's intercepted. It's picked off by Guidry. Guidry is tripped up by Murray as he got to the 29-yard line. Kevin Guidry out of Lake Charles, Louisiana, who had 2 interceptions a year ago, returns this one for 38 yards. That is the 3rd interception of the night, and that time Murray may have telegraphed.
He was looking all the way at that outside receiver, and that is a dangerous throw. And it's amazing, Mike. We've had the biggest plays of the game have been by people named Guidry for LSU.
That's right.
And they aren't brothers. This is a great pick. He just stepped right in front of him. There's no chance to get that ball in there. Kevin, he has to look off a receiver. You can't give him all day to catch him. Just a nice run here. PBs get the ball. They like to run up the sidelines, I'll tell you.
LSU with a big break will take over at their own 30-yard line with 1:26 to go, 3rd quarter. And all of us, I think, here connected with our ESPN broadcast, a little surprised about all this scoring. They have done the job. Hodson will quarterback them with Martin and Garland Jean-Baptiste, his running backs, out of the eye. Hodson changing the play. Wide receivers split left and right, and they go on the option quickly, get the toss to Martin. Martin's got 10 yards to the Aggie 20-yard line. And Martin a little slow getting up. Nicely designed play.
Oh, excellent. Excellent blocking. Little reverse option. Tosses the ball. Sammy Martin, 165 pounds. Watch him run over some people. Put his shoulders down, and he's going to make some extra yards.
Jean-Baptiste leading the way.
There's a wide receiver. He's going to seal the corner, knocks him right down, and he's going to get somebody else. You don't see that often from a wide receiver. A pancake and then a second block also.
Usually don't see the first one.
They didn't from number 87 with the Cincinnati Bengals very often.
1:20 to go, third quarter. And if you're not sure, Pat isn't picking on anybody else. That was his number. One of the LSU players being helped off the field, and they've got that left hand wrapped, and that's Jefferson. And he is their best cover man on defense, and they've got that left hand wrapped like he suffered a real injury there. And they're taking him to the locker room, and that's going to be a tough break for LSU. Right now, the Tigers have it marked all the way back to the 40-yard line. Hodson, deep down the middle, he's got a man. It's completed the 5 to Wendell Davis. And he beat James Flowers, and Hodson laid it in there. 35-yard bomb from redshirt freshman Tom Hodson to junior Wendell Davis out of Shreveport. There is a flag on the play. But it looks like it's against Texas A&M. And it is.
Tom Hodson's going to show us here right now why he threw for over 3,000 yards in his senior year. That's the end of the camera, but it's a perfect throw, and Wendell Davis is having a big game tonight. This is a great catch.
Super.
Over the shoulder, couldn't see the ball to the last second. Davis now has 8 catches for 123 yards. Running the game, LSU knew they needed to hit the wide receivers, and they have succeeded. That's why they're leading on the scoreboard.
Ronnie Halliburton comes in as the second tight end. They go to the eye. Martin, the tailback, dragged down before he got to the 5-yard line. Sammy O'Brien just grabbed him like a sack of potatoes and tossed him backward, which you can expect at a 248 against 165. Sam Martin, for all his heart and desire, is not going to run over the top of Sammy O'Brien.
LSU has not gone to Brian Kinchin, their tight end, number 49, and they expected to get the ball to him tonight. I wouldn't be surprised to see him try to put it in the end zone right now.
This could be the last play of the quarter. And they could get called for a delay. LSU is trying to let the clock run out, but they would be called for a delay of the game because of the 25-second clock, and they have to use a timeout. That really hurts. There is a timeout with 5 seconds to go in the third quarter. LSU 21, A&M 17.
Couple of scores to update. USC now leading Illinois at the LA Coliseum by the score of 28-16. Rodney Peete has scored on a 32-yard run, and Miami is just clobbering Texas Tech. It's just at the start of the fourth quarter now. Miami on top 54-11.
This is the story in Baton Rouge. 5 seconds to go, third quarter. LSU leading by 4 and threatening with 2nd and 5 yards to go at the Texas A&M 5. 2nd and goal. Martin and Jean-Baptiste are the running backs behind Hodson, who used a valuable timeout on a mix-up on the clock. Hodson set the throw. He's got a man. Catch it. Touchdown. Von Lewis comes on for the point after. 27-17. He'll try to make it an 11-point lead. Pull that one, but it's still good. Hodson now 13 out of 19, 2 touchdowns, 167 yards. And what a play call by Bill Arnsparger.
As I said earlier, tight ends are very effective inside the 5-yard line. Brian Kinchin managed to get deep. Hodson has a lot of time, just sets back, throws it like a pro. Perfect throw, nice catch.
Nice catch. And there is Bill Arnsparger on the sideline. He called the play, or at least approved it. And Hodson handled it. And LSU has gone up on Texas A&M by 11. In a day of great games and surprises, we have one coming your way with Hodson leading the way for LSU. He has his club on top 28-17. DeFrank will kick off as we get set to start the fourth quarter. And there is Rod Harris, the sophomore. He is a burner. He can hurt you. And right now, Texas A&M needs it in the worst way. They're down 11. They need 2 touchdowns or a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, and a field goal just to tie. And they are pumped in Baton Rouge. Taken by Taylor, one of the up men. And Taylor will get to the 29-yard line, a 21-yard return. Let's go back and take a look at that touchdown catch by Kinchin, and it was a great one.
Well, this is what play action will do for you. Fakes to the tailback, he buys himself a lot of time, he just sets his feet, and he just lobs this ball perfectly to number 49, Brian Kinchin, makes a nice catch. He is not playing like a red-shirted freshman.
No, he's not.
Tom Hodson is sitting in there. He's getting time to throw, and he's picking his receivers and hitting them right on the numbers.
Texas A&M has to go to work on offense from the 24-yard line. Murray wants to throw, and it's dropped by Shea Walker, the last guy you would think would drop a pass. He's got great hands.
Well, sometimes when you have sore ribs and you're running a slant pattern, you might think twice. But that just hit him on the hands, and he dropped it.
Bet you he doesn't drop another one the rest of the night. He can get open, and I know Murray likes to look for him.
He might have to drop one the rest of the year.
That's right. 2nd and 10. Murray leads them out. He's had an excellent ball game, but he's been burned by 3 interceptions. Has all the time in the world, and this time he hits the man again, Shea Walker. He didn't drop that one, and Murray laid it on the numbers again. Pearson made the tackle. But it's a first down, and Walker comes up limping a little bit.
That's a sign of a good quarterback, though. Kevin Murray went right back to number 85, Shea Walker. He's going to catch the ball, as we said, almost every time.
There is Marshall Lamb, the starting right offensive tackle, 347 pounds. He only had 17 snaps to play last year before he was hurt. This is his senior year. Jackie Sherrill still thinks he's going to play in a pro. This is Vick on the delay. Across midfield, down to about the LSU 48-yard line. Carl Wilson on the stop. Murray on the night, 21 out of 30, 204 yards, a couple of touchdowns, but he's had those 3 interceptions.
One of the reasons that A&M's offensive running game hasn't done that well is because the defensive backs and linebackers for LSU are making the tackles, and they're making them, dropping them on the first. They're not missing anything.
2nd down, 5 yards to go. Vick, the remaining running back. Woodside is on a wing. They look for Woodside and find him. 45, 44, 43-yard line. He should have the first down again. Swarmed over. Hazard in on the stop again along with Ron Sancho, 52. Hazard's had quite a ball game.
Well, Nicky Hazard, number 48 here, you'll see him drop into his pass coverage. He'll make a tackle again. He's had 13 tackles tonight, 11 solos. Watch him drill Woodside right here. That's a tough man to bring down one-on-one.
First down, A&M at the 43-yard line of LSU. Jackie Sherrill knows his ball club is in trouble. Preseason number 1 in a couple of polls. They're ranked 7th right now. Ball batted down at the line of scrimmage, and it looked like it was number 62, Darrell Phillips, the backup nose guard. He's got a hand on it. Made a couple of big plays. We have 13 minutes and 24 seconds left to go in this ball game. LSU leading Texas A&M 28-17. This is Mike Patrick along with Pat McAnally and Tim Brando. We're really glad you could join us on ESPN for a Saturday night football game from Baton Rouge. It's been a dandy, and it's far from over. Murray. Big play here under pressure. Got rid of it, complete to Vick, but Vick is only going to get about a yard out of it. Stacked up by James Pearson. Started the first part of last year and has got the job again as he and Kevin Guidry have split a lot of playing time at that right corner.
One thing I love about college football is you never know who the star is going to be. Nicky Hazard comes into this game. All we did was talk about Michael Brooks, Johnny Holland,
Toby
Caston, and here's Nicky Hazard with 11 solo tackles.
He's done the job. Sometimes offenses try to pick on what they think would be a weak link, and there isn't one. Murray back to throw. In trouble. They got it. Michael Brooks with a sack at the 45. The All-American from Ruston, Louisiana, comes through with the big play. They love to bring him on the pass rush.
Every time they can blitz somebody, every time they bring a linebacker, Michael Brooks, number 94, is the man. He's as strong as defensive lineman, and he's fast. He just play right off the guard, broke the away from the block, and dropped the quarterback.
Going to be 4th down and 12 yards to go. We understand that LSU cornerback Norman Jefferson, who we saw taken into the training room, had stitches in his hand, and he will be back. And here is Craig Stump, the backup quarterback, who comes into punt. Rehigh signals for the fair catch, but he lets it go. This one might die. Takes a bounce, and they'll down it at the 15, 16-yard line. So LSU will not have good field position even after a 29-yard punt.
Live college football on ESPN is being brought to you by Volvo, a car you can believe in.
11 minutes, 49 seconds left to go in the ball game from Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge, and LSU is surprising Texas A&M 28-17. The Tigers have the football. They'll start deep in their own territory at the 16. And the Bill Arnsparger fan club grows by the minute. Harris is in at fullback, number 30. They'll give it to the tailback, Harvey Williams, who breaks tackles and gets out to about the 23. Interesting about Arnsparger that he went down and interviewed for the Florida athletic director job and really upset some folks around here. But if you play this way, he can probably go interview for anything he'd like as long as he comes back.
They're doing nothing but cheering tonight. Yeah, this is why it was a very critical game for him to have a good performance. They were very unhappy with it.
11 minutes, 20 seconds to go. Second down, about 2 yards to go. And Texas A&M going with its second team defense, at least in a couple of positions. Gilbert is in there at the nose guard in place of Sammy O'Brien. The starting ends are in there, Sadler and Muller, and the call is going to go against LSU. Now the officials will sort it out. Updating you on some scores, Southern Cal has beaten Illinois, the final 31-16.
False start, offense.
False start on LSU. So instead of 2nd and 3, they're going to have a 2nd and 8 situation. Love the Tigers, you bet they do. They love them win or lose, but somehow you tend to love them a little more when they win. And that's everywhere. But they have jammed in here tonight, the second largest crowd in this stadium's glorious history. And they have seen some football down here at LSU. I'm not sure what the delay is right now. It looks like the 25-second clock not working. Hope you're going to be with us next Saturday, the 20th of September. Our coverage between Penn State and Boston College will start at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. Larry and Bino will host the Lincoln Mercury College Football Scoreboard Show. And at 7:30, Penn State will kick it off against BC, a winner today. Immediately following the game, stay tuned for the Hartford Insurance Group College Football Report. Larry and Bino will be there with you, and it never fails every Saturday. Upset and surprise, and we sure had them today. Can you believe Ohio State just had it handed to them on the West Coast?
They're not going to be happy. Those Buckeye fans are not going to be happy about that one.
No, especially when you start in the top 5 of the country and lose the first 2. There's a good look at Mickey Guidry, who has come back into the ball game. And what a story this kid has been. He came in the first half, threw 2 passes, and got a touchdown out of it, and hasn't been back in the ball game since. First time Ohio State has started 0-2 since the 1890s. I love trivia. 10:58 to go. Second down, 8 yards to go. Guidry, the quarterback, has McGee in motion. The toss to Williams. Good cutback, and he was drilled as he got up to about the 22-yard line. Jay Muller trailing the play, really got a shoulder pad in there. Harvey Williams, as a freshman running back, has acquitted himself rather well. 11 for 53 and a touchdown.
Well, that play didn't gain much, maybe 3 or 4 yards, but you could really see he's 6'2", he's 205 pounds, and great acceleration, and he's fearless.
Another freshman, Alvin Lee, comes in to take the spot at tailback. And we've got a timeout called by Texas A&M.
That's 5 timeouts tonight they've thrown away for a variety of reasons.
28-17. LSU with the lead. 10:19 to go in the ball game. We'll be back right after this. Third down, 4 yards to go for LSU. They have the ball at their own 23-yard line, trying to keep this drive alive and burn some time off the clock that shows 10 minutes and 19 seconds to go. Texas A&M desperately needs the ball back. Harvey Williams is checked back in. He is now to wing left. The fullback is Mickey Harris, number 30, on 3rd and 4. Mickey Guidry, the quarterback. Pressure. He got away from the rush and throws incomplete. It was tipped, it appeared to be. Aaron Wallace may have gotten a hand on it. Todd Howard, number 73, may have been the man that tipped it. Guidry flushed out of the pocket and unloaded. At least didn't take the loss. And now they'll have to kick it away.
Well, this would be a great time to have another 58-yarder like he did on the first effort.
Matt DeFrank kicking to Mickey Washington, who is standing at his own 45-yard line. 180-pound freshman, another burner. Most of these guys can run. Good blocking. DeFrank drives one out of there. Washington fumble. And Washington, fortunate, and got it back at his own 28-yard line. He wanted to catch that thing, and he looked like an outfielder holding his arms straight up instead of cradling it in toward his body.
Well, this is a real strange kick. It's a half spiral that's curved back at him, and it goes back over his shoulder. He was surprised by the ball. He should have been back further and coming forward the ball. You don't want to catch it over your shoulder.
40-yard kick and a loss of 9 on the return, so A&M will start at its own 28 when we come back. Texas A&M sold 6,000 tickets for this ball game, all that they had. And they are not a very happy group right now, down 28-17. And they're going to have to go to work on offense. Kevin Murray brings them out from the 28-yard line. Draw play. This is Valentine to the 37-yard line. The senior from Marshall, tackled by Nicky Hazard, who has been all over the field. Here's what Texas A&M has done to itself. 3 interceptions. 1 didn't hurt them because LSU fumbled it back. The other 2 led to Tiger touchdowns and a 28-17 lead. Murray has been intercepted those 3 times. He has thrown a pair of touchdown passes. They'll get it to Vick on the toss. This has been diagnosed well all night long, and it is again as Steve Rehas strings it out to the sideline and stops him short of the first down. It looks like LSU came in here with the game plan, Pat, of saying Roger Vick is not going to be the guy that beats us.
I think that's the right game plan. You have to stop A&M's running game. That was their #1 goal in this game. Stop their running game, and then they're going to gamble with their secondary and their linebackers, and it's been the right choice right so far.
Vick has gained 59 yards, but he's had to do it on 20 carries. That's a tough night. Vick, again, he'll get the first down as he picks up maybe 2 on this before he's thrown back. Hazard in there along with Barbay and Henry Thomas, the nose guard.
One thing very uncharacteristic of a Jackie Sherrill coach team is A&M has thrown away 5 timeouts tonight. Now there's 8 minutes, almost 9 minutes left in the game. They're down by 2 scores, and they've thrown them away for substitutions, confusing defenses with a quarterback call timeout. That's going to hurt them.
Norman Jefferson comes back into the ball game as LSU beats up its secondary. Jefferson had the stitches in his hand and is back in. Murray chased out of the pocket. Brooks had him. He got rid of it somehow and completed it to the 45-yard line. What a play. and the pass is complete to his tight end Bernstein. He threw it from a prone position. This guy is tough.
Michael Brooks, look at what an athlete he is. He's blitzing from the outside. He's going to beat the blocker. He's going to run Murray down. In his book, this is a sack. He's got him down. I don't know. He's down.
Oh, he was down.
Well, Michael Brooks, you deserved a sack on that one.
Both knees are down before he unloads.
I can't believe that Kevin Murray even thought to throw this ball. He's
Both
definitely
knees
down.
flat on the ground. Well, a break for A&M. 2nd and 5. Here comes Brooks again. He got him this time. Consecutive sacks from All-American linebacker Michael Brooks.
Bill Arnsparger told us before the game that he has the potential to be the best player he's ever been around. That's anyone in the pros, all his years of coaching. Michael Brooks making his presence felt when they need it. Look how fast he is. Takes him down, he holds on to it. He did not let him go down. Kevin Murray wasn't going to throw this one from his knees.
He said his neighborhood was so tough when they played sandlot football and somebody got hit real hard, they just walk to their car, get a gun, and come back. He says, this is easy. Murray on 3rd and long, bombs away. He's got his man out there, and he underthrows and intercepted. Picked off by Kevin Guidry again. He had Shea Walker out there by 2 steps, and Murray couldn't get him the ball. He threw it as far as he could. Guidry was beaten. Walker had 2 steps. Could have been a touchdown, and Murray just couldn't get it there.
Well, LSU's got an 11-point lead. They're going to start dropping back in their zones now. They're dropping deep. Shea Walker sneaks behind, but this is a tough throw. This is like throwing a cross-court pass in basketball. Al McGuire wouldn't like it, I'm sure. But Coach Sherrill didn't like that. It's a tough throw, rolling to your left, throwing all the way back to the right. Most of the time, it does get intercepted.
Big night for Kevin Guidry. Hodson comes back into the ball game, and LSU now with 7:09 to run off the clock. They lead by 11 points. They're more interested in that clock than they are in the scoreboard. They'll run the option. Hodson keeps it to the 23-yard line. I guess you don't want to become too conservative right now, Pat, but you don't want to turn it over either.
What they'd like to get right now is about a 4 or 5 minute drive.
There's Pearson on the sideline shaking up on the last play. But all they pat him on the back. All they have to tell him is look up to the scoreboard. He'll feel a lot better in a minute. Harvey Williams back in there at the tailback spot, and there is Jackie Sherrill making some notes on the sideline. Man who has done a great job at Texas A&M, facing a man who has done an equally brilliant job at LSU, Bill Arnsparger. They'll give it to Williams, change of direction, and that was a mistake because Todd Howard from Bryan, Texas, was waiting for him. Howard had 114 tackles a year ago. He's just a great athlete. And there you see the clock down to 6:10.
Todd Howard went out to the Golden State Decathlon, and he had never performed, and he got 3rd place. He just 4.5 speed. We really haven't heard his name much tonight. They kept him out of the action.
He had to borrow equipment, didn't he?
Yeah, just borrowed other people's and beat him.
Sure, he asked nicely, but I'm sure they gave it up in a hurry, too. 3rd and 7. Hodson changing the play at the line of scrimmage. Sean Batiste, the only man behind him. Here comes the blitz, and he picked it up. Throws complete to Davis. The 10th catch for Davis. The whistles are sounding. And they're pointing to the 25-second clock. They may call this one back, and that would get Davis back down to 9 catches. The club record is 11. Yep, they didn't get it off in the 25-second allotment, and the crowd doesn't like that call at all. It was really a late whistle. The pass has already been, Bill Arnsparger thought it was a late call, too. Pass had already been thrown when the whistles were blown.
Critical mistake. They had the first down to Davis.
Delay of game, offense.
Well, that's a big mistake. Big mistake. They had the first down picked up. Now they've got to go 3rd and 12.
Bill Arnsparger not happy. Here's his reaction to the call.
What's he doing on the field anyway? On the sideline.
He's only 5 yards out there. Clock running with 5:19 to go. Now 3rd and 12, and they'll go to the air. Hodson to throw, and completes it to Martin. At the 35, it's a first down. There is another flag down, and I think this one will go against Texas A&M. It is roughing the passer. They'll tack some more onto it. And that was the play that may have done it. Took a lot of guts to call that play, a passing play.
I wouldn't have been surprised if they had just tried to run the ball and set up their punt team, but Bill's going for the win tonight. Sammy Martin managed to get open. It was another excellent.
Dana Batiste, the backup linebacker. Clock now really a factor. 3:43 and rolling. The price of those has just gone up. The I Love LSU Tigers. They'll be selling those babies after the game. Williams, 14 carries, 61 yards. It has been a great offensive show for a team that everyone expected had to be carried by its defense. And they want to throw. Hodson, complete again to Wendell Davis. 10 catches on the night for Davis, down to the 16-yard line. Batiste makes the tackle. What do you think of that call?
It's an excellent call. I was looking for a play action, some type of pass. Again, Arnsparger's going for the win. Wendell Davis is isolated right here. Number 82. It's just a simple route. Hodson has all day to throw the ball. Davis just finds a seam, and he turns the ball up.
Well, they had a man short and a man deep on that side of the zone. Jeff Holley just caught in between, had nowhere else to go. 10 catches for Wendell Davis, 133 yards. In almost a third of what he did all last year. 1st and 10, 2:55 to go in the game. And falling to the ground, that time Hodson, it looked like one of the guards pulled out, or the center, and caught his ankle and tripped him. About the only thing he's done wrong tonight.
That wasn't his fault.
Clock continues to run, 2:39. Texas A&M only has one timeout left. Although timeouts may be the least of their worries right now.
Well, they've run at least 6 minutes off the clock right here, I think. They go in and score. It's their game.
They have gone against a veteran defense, moved it down the field when they had to do it after already scoring 28 points. Williams and Harris are the running backs. Williams cuts off the right side, cuts back, hit very, very hard that time. Brooks came up from the corner and nailed him. Larry Burnett has an update for us from the scoreboard show. Larry?
All right, Mike, we've got some scores here from night games. First of all, in the Southwest Conference, number 15, Baylor is leading Louisiana Tech. That one is in the fourth quarter. Arkansas has defeated Mississippi. Shutout time, 21-0 for Ken Hatfield and his gang. In the third, it is Stanford on top of Texas, 31-17. And a final score, Pitt and North Carolina State play to a 14-14 tie. Let's go back to Baton Rouge.
Thank you, Larry. Of course, we saw Pittsburgh earlier in the year, and they tied tonight 14-14. Timeout with 2:08 to go. We'll be back in Baton Rouge in a moment. We're down to 2 minutes and 8 seconds to go at Baton Rouge, Louisiana Tiger Stadium, where the homestanding LSU Tigers are leading 28-17. We want to thank our statistician, as always, Chuck Freeby, our spotters tonight, who did a great job for us, Alan Cannon and Bill Franco. Thank you guys for a wonderful job. Great assistance. Give it off up the middle, just trying to kill the clock. Holland in on the stop of Sam Martin. We're under 2 minutes, and LSU is salting this one away. What a great start for them, and what a position it's going to put them in. A lot of people now going to look at them as certainly one of the favorites for the Southeastern Conference race, especially with Tennessee getting beaten today by Mississippi State.
Well, we knew they'd have the strong defense, and they have played exceptionally well. But it's a surprise is Tom Hodson. He's been able to get the ball to Sammy Martin and Wendell Davis. They've mixed up the runs and the passes, and he's been cool and collected.
Texas A&M has used its last timeout. They cannot stop the clock again, and LSU is taking its own sweet time in getting this one off on 4th and 5, and they're going to send Lewis in and go for the field goal. Now, is this rubbing a little salt in it, maybe?
Oh, no, you have to make the play. You have to do this because if
you have to do what you have to do.
Scores an onside kick or within a touchdown. Oh, we got to get this.
Do you think it's a gamble going for the field goal? Chance of a block?
No, you got to go for the field goal here. You want a 14-point lead.
Well, I can't ask you any correct questions tonight, I guess.
We know kickers. You know, we stick together. He wants 3 points on his record.
They are penalized 5 yards for delay.
They never had one snap mishandled last year. That may be one reason they're willing to go. Chris Carrier, very consistent.
The ball is spotted at the 24. It would be a 34-yard field goal attempt. It's got plenty of leg, but it's going to be wide right. And Texas A&M will take over with 1:06 left in the ball game. They'll have the ball deep in their own territory when we come back. Hope you'll be with us next week, 7:30 in Boston. Boston College a winner today against powerhouse Penn State. As always, that's always a good ball game. The Nittany Lions and the Eagles. And we hope it's just like tonight. Craig Stump has checked into the lineup as Texas A&M's quarterback. Murray was 24 out of 35, 214 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he had 4 interceptions on the night. Stump, a junior from Port Arthur, Texas, gets his pass away, completes it to Tony Thompson. Thompson at the 30, tackled by Caston. Stump last year started a couple of ball games. Started the last 8 of 1984, so he is an experienced quarterback. Pick would have been complete again, and it's intercepted by Brooks. 20, 15, maybe caught from behind. No, sir. Touchdown, LSU. There's All-American Michael Brooks, and now he'll go back on the point after protect team. And the kick is good. Brooks makes the big play on the 5th interception of the night for that Tiger defense. And again, that was not the quarterback's fault.
This ball's tipped up. But this shows you Michael Brooks is all over the field. This is why he's considered the best linebacker in the country all around. Fast, strong, ball pops up, should have been caught. But he's right there. The great players are always where they're supposed to be. This is funny. Watch 27 Guidry. This is a really curious block there. He gets pushing him into the end zone. I guess he got a little free ride. Well, I think he was getting a little tired. Look at shoving him aside. Michael Brooks has really asserted himself in the second half. Had a couple consecutive quarterback sacks, made tackles all over the field, and scored his touchdown there.
And LSU has blown it open with 45 seconds left to go, 35-17. It's not been that much of a blowout. It is a very, very tight ball game. And believe me, Texas A&M will be heard from the rest of the year. This is no indication of what's going to happen to them in 1986, I don't believe.
I think Michael Brooks must have heard us talk about Nicky Hazard. You know what, Hazard, he got too cocky and started doing it himself. One other point, though, LSU has done an excellent job on the coverage of the kickoffs. They met the challenge of the 12th man from Texas A&M.
Yes, they have. Done a good job. Matt DeFrank to kick it away. And they'll get the short squib kick to Valentine. Loose ball. Valentine fell on it. Mike DeWitt down there with him on coverage. And we only have 39 seconds left, and Texas A&M just has to be a little bit shell-shocked right now.
Well, it's funny how games can turn around. It was such a tight match, but then LSU started getting their own way. The big turnover, when Murray threw that pick, when they were driving for a touchdown, they ended up LSU scoring when they got the ball. I'll tell you, I'm tipping my hat to Bino Cook on this one. He called LSU, and I'll tell you, that was a tough call.
That's a gutsy call. Stump the quarterback. He'll give on the draw to Valentine. Valentine up to about the 29-yard line. It's all over, but counting down the last 29 seconds.
I'm glad the clock's working now.
That's right. Phillips made the tackle. Gain of 5. Stump in the hurry-up offense. Give the draw to Valentine again. There's Rehage once more. He's had a lot of tackles tonight. Excellent game for Steve Rehage, the strong safety. We're down to 9 seconds, make it 10, and they stop the clock to move the chain. Stump has him out up the line of scrimmage, trying to get another play, maybe 2. Another draw to Valentine. Gets to the 41. 3 seconds, 2. And LSU has done it. They have beaten Texas A&M 35-17. And Jackie Sherrill quickly on the field to shake hands with some of the LSU players. And there is Bill Arnsparger, who is now 18, 5-2. And he and Jackie Sherrill exchanged greetings in the center of the field, and you can believe that Texas A&M will be back. But look out for LSU as Bill Arnsparger has come in here, turned the program around in a hurry, which is what they wanted from him. And he's done an exceptional job, not only on defense, which is his specialty, but look at the scoreboard. 35 points on the scoreboard, and Tim Brando has the winning coach on the sideline. Tim?
All right, Mike, thank you very much. A huge victory for this LSU team. And Coach Arnsparger, they call you the doctor of defense. You had quite an offensive show tonight.
Well, we just tried to do what we had to do. It's one-on-one battles, and we were hoping to win the one-on-one battles.
They were saying on the A&M side that it was sort of like fool's gold. Even though they had the lead, they couldn't establish a running game. Was that the key for your defense in this game?
Well, you hope so. We just got to go from here, and we're just real happy over the way it worked out.
What about the play of Hodgson and Williams, two freshmen that acquitted themselves tonight extremely well?
Well, I think our entire football team had confidence that we could do things if we just kept working.
You've had a lot of big ones. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Bill Arnsparger, the head football coach of the LSU Tigers, a team that has scored perhaps the biggest win under his 3-year reign here in Tigertown. And we'll continue with more from Tigertown after this.
I'm going to miss you.
It's over here in Baton Rouge where the Tigers have pulled a stunning 35-17 victory against Texas A&M. Stunning not so much in the fact that they won because they were an excellent club, and a lot of people, including Arbino Cook, thought it could be an upset. But for the margin, an 18-point victory. Our player of the game from LSU is junior tailback Sam Martin. 11 carries, 54 yards, but more importantly, 5 receptions, 102 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And that young man broke it open. Here's one of them, the first one, in fact, on the pass from Tom Hodgson, the redshirt freshman quarterback, who also had a great game in his first appearance. And Martin, they told us before the game, they want him to get the ball. And when he got it, he rolled up 156 yards in total offense and scored 2 touchdowns. Congratulations to Sam Martin as the Hartford player of the game from LSU. Our final again, 35-17 LSU. Will be back to wrap it up from Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge right after you listen to these messages. Our final score again tonight, LSU 35, Texas A&M 17. Stay tuned next for the Hartford Insurance Group College Football Report with Larry Burnett and Bino Cook. Next week's ESPN coverage of CFA football continues when Penn State visits Boston College. Our coverage begins at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, when Larry and Bino host the Lincoln Mercury College Football Scoreboard Show. ESPN's presentation of live CFA football has been brought to you by McDonald's. It's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's. By your local independent Safeco agent. By Michelob Light, super premium taste and a less filling beer. Who says you can't have it all? And by the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start. And this was a great place to be tonight to watch the debut of heralded freshman running back Harvey Williams. This his first touchdown carry of what ought to be a brilliant college career, and Bill Arnsparger winning his 18th game in 25 tries. And our player of the game, Sam Martin from LSU, and the Tigers may indeed be number 1. Now let's join Larry Burnett and Bino Cook for the Hartford Insurance Group College Football Report.
All right, Mike, Sam Martin looking very happy there. The Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge is a real tiger pit tonight. You said in our preview show of college football that you thought Texas A&M was being overrated, that maybe they didn't belong in the top 5 where many of the pollsters had them, and it looks like you're right.
Yes, basically because they beat Auburn in the Cotton Bowl, but Auburn had a hangover from losing to Alabama. Plus, right now, Bill Arnsparger, a lot of people thought when he took the LSU job he was too old. He's one of the oldest coaches in the country, along with Joe Paterno and Bo Schembechler, and they're all winning. He has done quite a job at LSU in the last few years.
Here's a guy who did so much with defense in the pros, and he's got a great offense, he's got a great defense. They're doing a lot of good things. Also, an interesting game today we want to talk about, the one between Michigan and Notre Dame. Of course, it was the start of the Lou Holtz era at Notre Dame, and a lot of people weren't really sure what to expect. Bino thought it was going to be a good game, and it turned out to be an excellent game. Lou Holtz in his Notre Dame debut today at Notre Dame Stadium. Looked pretty good out there, too, in the old blue and gold. First quarter action, Notre Dame not hesitant to display some